just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. Just before we get started, don't forget, next Monday, 6 p.m, Bloke jerseys dropping, limited edition. We've never done this design before, the OG colours. So make sure to be there. They will arrive before Magic Round, so that's what we do every single year. You wear the jersey. We'll never do this design again. And also, this show will be a little bit shorter because obviously it's a public holiday, so the boys got stuff to do. I really do appreciate the boys coming in. Matty is hurting at the moment, so we appreciate him turning up. Otherwise, the magic couldn't happen. And don't forget, guys, the NordVPN Defense Play of the Week is back. The great Gurino, how was the weekend, mate?
It was good, mate. Pretty quiet one for me, but plenty of points to be scored over the weekend.
Yes, plenty of points. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But I just want to say something quickly. On Friday, we spoke about the beer, and I just assumed kind of everyone knew that we'd stopped selling the beer ages ago because it's been probably, nearly 2 years since we promoted the beer, and it's been over a year, I think, since we've actually sold the beer. Anyway, we got into a conversation on Friday, and we just kind of explained what happened, and there was quite a lot of people interested to hear what happened to the beer. So I was like, oh, shit, like maybe I should say it on one of our bigger podcasts. Anyway, what happened with the beer and why we no longer sell it. Pretty much, the beer was going extremely well, like really, really well, and got to a certain point where we had kind of two choices. It was raise a bunch of money and build a brewery, because the cost that we were selling the beer at was around $55 to $60. That was the recommended retail price. Now, some independent liquor stores would sell it for more, but we would try to tell them around that price. And that was because we knew the audience that listened to our podcast, they're not going to pay $70 to $80 for a case of beer. Anyway, so basically we weren't making any money on the beer, but we knew that going into that price point. But the long-term plan was potentially to build a brewery, and that would bring the cost down of the beer. So we got to a certain point where, it was either raise a bunch of money and build a brewery, but then if we did that, it would basically make us a beer company. If you actually remember 2 or 3 years ago, we only had like really 2 shows. So it was Monday Review and the DMP. And then obviously in the last few years, that was the point where we were like, okay, well, if we become a beer company, like it's all well and good to raise a bunch of money, and you can carry on like, look at all this money raised, whatever. But once you raise a bunch of money, you have an obligation to follow that all the way through. And my passion has always been the podcast. It's always been, that's where I've always wanted to like positively impact footy, and I hope I have to a degree. Just not in some big ego way, just in my part in all this. And so we made this. At the time we went and looked at brewery locations, we did all that, but eventually we made the decision. You know what? Like that's not. I don't want to be a beer company with podcasts. I want to be a podcast company that does. This is my passion. Talks footy. I would do this for the rest of my life for free if I had to. That's how much I enjoy it. And so, we made the decision to focus on the podcast side of things, and that's why you've seen all these shows be, I guess, added onto the Bloke platform, especially this year, because the goal was always to have a sports network. So, that's why we, about 2 years ago, we decided to slowly wind it down. About a year ago, we stopped selling it, and we just paused it at the moment. In that time, like we've been approached by other beers because obviously the beer companies know that we're not selling anymore, to do partnerships and stuff like that. And it just didn't feel right at the time. It just was too soon. It just didn't feel right. So we've said no to quite a few. Who knows? In the future, we are a sports network, so probably would be open to doing something in the future with a beer company. But that's the pretty much why the beer was stopped being sold. I just assumed everyone kind of knew. But Drew, that's the story. Hope it didn't put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Hope it didn't put you to sleep. So anyway. Basically, it's just paused, and we'll see what happens from here. But the main focus at the moment is we're a sports network, and everything we do now from here on out is just focused in on building out the sports network. So that is the story of the beer and why we stopped selling it. I tell you what, learnt heaps, learnt so much about business, learnt so much about the beer industry as well. But now it's all focused on the sporting network. I'm really happy with our decision. Looking back on it now, I'm very stoked that, just to imagine us being a beer company first and having to focus all my energy into that rather than the podcast, it just wouldn't seem right. So, and obviously the focus is on the sports network now. And it's a category that's really important to a network. So probably we'll explore that category going forward. Just initially for that first year and a half, well, nearly 2 years now. But first year and a half or so just didn't feel right. So that's the story of the beer. Okay, No Hammy here today. He's down in Melbourne. So shout out to Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Appreciate their partnership as always. Keep the lights on. But it's time now for the Code Sports story of the week. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke and get your discount for the year. And I think we all know what the story is going to be. The Titans' heartbreak.
Yeah, well, I think that's why Hemi's actually not here. Heard about Jarome Luai last night and went to Melbourne. But yeah, Jarome Luai was spotted in PNG yesterday with Michael Chammas, with a couple of the big dogs over with the Chiefs, which has raised questions, obviously, why he's over there. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that he has a decision to make at the end of this week in regards to whether he will take up his contract offer next year. As most will remember, Jarome Luai has a player option in every single year of his contract at the Tigers. So despite being signed for a long period, he can get out of the contract almost whenever he wants. So by the end of this week, he'll have to make his decision on whether he's going to stay for next year. But then that opens the door for 2028 when the Chiefs come in. And Papua New Guinea is very keen to have Jarome Luai signed as their first big marquee signing, as their guy that will not only be their number one leading into the competition, but will also help attract all these other players coming into the team. So it's a really interesting story. I think it caught many by surprise, but I mean, he was welcomed like a king there yesterday, which is quite scary signs for Tigers fans.
And I think as well with Luai, he's got evidence of taking a bottom tier club into right now. What are you sitting second?
Third.
You're sitting third right now. So like you've actually got evidence of a player going from one of the greatest teams we've ever seen to a club that's won, was it 3 spoons in a row, taking them to 13th. And at the moment, they're looking like they will finish at least in the top 8 at the moment. Obviously, it's a long season. So, like, there's actual evidence of building a club up not from scratch, but very much from the bottom of the table. Look, I think that, I understand Tigers fans being, I guess, taken aback by this and, a little bit frustrated, I guess. But at the end of the day, he was brought to the club to take the club off the bottom of the table. And he's only abiding by the deal that was given to him. And so, as I said, I understand, come on, we've come so far as a club and, why this now? And also, stick around and see it, finish a career here. Like, I get all that. But at the same time, he's not breaking any contract. He's just looking for his future. And he's also, at this stage, I think we'd all agree he's delivered in what he said he would do when he came to the club. I mean, again, it's still a long year to go, but if they do finish in the 8, I would say that's a satisfactory job done so far from Luai. What do you think, mate?
I think if you are a half-decent player in this competition, you'd be stupid not to explore it. These opportunities don't come up very often. If Luai was to be the marquee man over there, the amount of money we're talking about is just stupid money.
Essentially double.
It's double. It's loyalty, all that stuff. Jarome Luai's being loyal to his family. If you're not looking at this as an option, you're fucking kidding yourself as far as I'm concerned. You have to look at it. I think for PNG, even if they don't get Luai, I think this and I think as well because it's the Tigers, people will sort of jump on and because he's got the contract, all that sort of stuff. But I think this will be the first of many guys that will go over to two of these facilities. I think if you've got a buy round on your calendar, book a flight. Go and have a look. Go check it out. I think because this is the Tigers and it's Jarome, it's two, perfect spots that get headlines. It'll get a lot of attention, but if I'm Jarome, you have to go and look at it. If you're any other player, I think you should be going to look at it as well. You're not breaking any rules. You're not doing anything wrong. It's a very unique opportunity that's presented itself. Go and explore it.
Yeah, and I think that's the key as well for Jarome. Right now, the contract that he agreed to at the Tigers, he's done everything by the book. He's done everything that he's contractually obligated to do. And I know, people would say, talk about loyalty or whatever, but it's the reason why he signed with the Tigers was because he had this flexibility.
Yep.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have got him. He would have gone to a different club, I think anyway. And so, look, it's not a done deal. It's not like he's guaranteed to go to PNG. This could, in regards to media per se, if I'm PNG, this is a good thing for them because now we're talking about the PNG Chiefs. Other managers that may have ball players that are interested in going to PNG, all of a sudden PNG have a bit of leverage to say, well, Jarome Luai's interested, so don't ask for too much. Also, there are other players, well, if Luai's interested, maybe I'll be interested. So, from a PR perspective, I do think that there is a chance where that maybe it is just a PR stunt for PNG. Not a stunt. Stunt's probably the wrong word because they would be interested in Jarome Luai. But put it this way, it can't hurt the PNG Chiefs that this got leaked.
Well,
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's
There's
going
no
to get more
secret.
guys interested. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, there was no secret, right? I remember a couple of years ago when the Bulldogs went on this massive signing spree. All the kind of pictures that got leaked were from fans that may have spotted something. I mean, I saw pictures yesterday of people on PNG's board taking pictures of Jarome with fans and that, and they were going out into the media. And yeah, it was no secret that Jarome was there. It was no secret what he was doing, which you either look at two ways. You look at, some people are going, oh, it's a done deal. I can almost guarantee you it's not. And then other people looking at it as, like you said, PNG obviously have interest in Jarome. Jarome looks like he has interest in PNG. If you're another marquee player that may have played, like they're very much keen on Mitchell Kenny, a couple of those other off-contract Penrith guys. If you go, they're interested in Jarome and Jerome's interested in them, maybe I can also go over there. And instead of going over there and struggling, we could build this super team out of this country that rugby league is everything to. So there's so many different aspects with this that make it really interesting. And I think there's more that meets the eye than just these pictures and the stories that have gone out yesterday.
The people you've spoken to at the Tigers, what are their indications? Because doesn't he have to this week?
Yeah, by the end of this week. So because of his deal, there's a deadline every May where, you know, he comes out and says, yeah, I'm opting in next year or I'm opting out next year. So that's the decision that has to be made this week. But in terms of Jarome, this could also be a really good thing for the Tigers. Now, because Jarome has this contract where he can get out every year, now there's a bit of extra, you know, motivation for the Tigers to make sure that he stays. The salary cap will go up, which means Jarome can make more money at the Tigers, which means he can stay in Australia, which could all be positive things for Jarome if he doesn't want to move overseas. Let's say the Tigers offer him with the salary cap going up, another $300K to stay there. Then they remove the clauses out of his contract. That's a big possibility. That's something that could happen as a result of this other club showing interest in Jarome. They'll have more money if Jarome, like you said, if the Tigers make the top 8, if they push for top 4, if they're a real premiership contender this year, you can almost argue that Jerome's worth more money than they were when they signed him. They signed him to get him off the bottom of the ladder. Now, all of a sudden, they're a premiership threat. He could earn a pay rise out of this from the club and not have to leave. And he's very loyal. We've all heard Jarome say he's not going anywhere. I mean, it's rugby league. You never know. But I think if there's a chance for him to stay at the club and stay at the Tigers and the Tigers have to chip in a little bit more money, he could earn a pay rise from this.
Yeah, and when's the deal come in? 28? The new rights deal?
So, yeah.
So, yeah, like I think that what I like about this, not from a Tigers fan, but just it's going to be speculation. It's going to be fun stuff, as long as it doesn't drag out forever when it gets to like these crazy points. But yeah, I can understand why Luai would do it. Why wouldn't he do it? Like, you know, as we've just said, he's not breaking any rules. It's a week before he has to lock down how long he's going to stay. You'd just be silly not to, just to at least have that conversation.
Yeah, same as if when star players come onto the market, the West Tigers would be silly not to have a look as well.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And happens all the time when you're a player that's been promised all this stuff and then all of a sudden, you know, a superstar becomes not happy at a club and all of a sudden there's no club out there at all that ever goes, oh, you know what, we're going to stay loyal to our player that we brought through the system. They're going and speaking to that superstar player to see if they're interested. Happens all the time. So me personally, like, what is my preference to happen? I would love him to stay at the Tigers and, you know, potentially like continue to build and who knows what could happen. Like who knows genuinely, like with how good they've been this year so far, and yes, it's a small sample size, but who knows?
Yeah, it's my preference as well for him to stay at the West Tigers, but there is the other side of the fence that I go, geez, how good would it be if the Chiefs came in and were successful straight away? And, at least if they got Jarome, that would make them interesting, if nothing else. And I just think, living in a complex over there, all that sort of stuff, like, you're going to have to find the right sort of hype guy. You're going to have to find the right guy that's going to be in charge of energy over there and lifting the team and all that sort of stuff. And I just think Jarome would almost be perfect for that as well.
Yeah, and I just think the key as well is like there is hard evidence of him improving a club, like genuine hard evidence.
And you've also, you saw Jarome as well. You saw him living in that sort of scenario a few years ago in 2020 when they went into the bubble and everything. Penrith went in there, Jarome came out of that bubble and won 3 comps in a row. Penrith had the time of their life in there from what I've heard and all the reports. I think it'll be, either way, I think it'll be interesting and a good watch, but I think people sort of get mad at Jarome. Just open your eyes a little bit, look around.
Yeah, and he's not doing anything wrong or illegal.
And we'll know soon. We'll know soon with Jarome. Jarome doesn't keep these things to chest. He's very open. He's one of my favorite players to interview and talk to because what you see is what you get. You don't get lies. You don't get anything like that. He'll tell you. If I said to him, hey, are you going to PNG? If he knows, he'll say, yeah, I'm going. Or if he doesn't know, he'll say, look, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, we'll know soon. He won't keep people stringing along. His number one thing is family. So his family's always his first priority. But he cares for the Tigers a lot and he cares for the fans a lot. He will come out and let people know very quickly what his decisions are to put all of this chat around it to rest.
Did the West Tigers know that he was going?
Yeah. So from my understanding, they knew that he told him he was going to be leaving the country on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to get back today at some point. But I don't know for sure if he told them I'm going to see the Chiefs. I reckon he would have, especially knowing his relationship with Benji.
Yep.
But yeah, they were aware that he was leaving the country yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, what it like to leave the country for such a short amount of time? 1 and 1 + 1 = 2. Like if you're leaving, so they've played Thursday night?
They played Thursday night. He was there. Yes, he was at PNG.
Yeah,
yesterday.
so it's like
I think he was there for 2 days. I think.
Like you're not flying. Where else were you flying out of country for 2 days?
Could have gone to Bali.
2 days. Jeez.
Small
that's
trip.
keen.
That's the old West Tigers.
Yeah. 2 days. Holy.
I'll tell you what, Port Moresby Airport, round 12, you got 6 teams on the bye that week.
Yeah, be watching it. There'll
Gonna
be a lot
busy
of
over there.
Yeah. Mate, you know what? They'll just charter a plane of potential players with their managers. Just
7 teams on the bye that week, so take out Origin players. Once again, I think if you're a current player, it'd be silly not to go over there and at least have a look around.
Yeah.
See what's doing.
They had big games on yesterday as well when he was there. He was watching footy there as well.
Yeah.
It was a very big communal event. They were chanting his name. Like it's
Crazy.
pretty nuts.
Yeah, and I will say, even from the more hype around PNG, from a rugby league perspective, the better for the game it is as well. Like the more we get around it, and that's why I feel so sorry for Perth because like they are going to get swallowed up by the PNG hype, negotiations. The carrot at the end of the stick in PNG is so much bigger than Perth. Like, wow,
there is no carrot for Perth apart from you building a new club. From like you get that. I spoke to Scott Sorensen about this. You get that honor of building the new club. You don't get any monetary. You don't get anything like that. You're going to a place that isn't an established rugby league club. Their team is really small, so there's less resources there, and you've got to start from the ground up. Where people will wear that with pride, so it's more a pride thing. But really, there's no.
I still can't believe they haven't been given some kind of salary cap allowance. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me.
They're desperate for it because they haven't like. When was the last Perth signing that got announced?
And if they don't get it done soon, the PNG juggernaut will just swallow it up.
They only have 18 players, I think, on their books for next year.
And they just lost David Sharp as well.
Yeah.
How many players do you reckon will play for Perth and PNG over the next 3? Like play for both?
Like together?
Well, I like if you were to go to Perth for 27 and then go straight to PNG the year after, like it's you could probably get some damn good coin out of it.
Yeah. Would you be willing? Like, would Perth be willing to sign you for one year? I guess.
And Perth have had a different approach. Like I think it's an approach they've been criticised for. A lot of people say they haven't really signed marquee players. They've signed a lot of young guys and then a couple of veterans, but really nothing in the middle. Like Toby Sexton's probably your middle ground there of that guy who's in between going over there. But realistically, who from Perth do you think? Papua New Guinea's being very selective on who they want over there. Who from Perth do you think?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like that. They've obviously got a lot more signatures they're going to get over the next few years. I just wonder the closer it gets if, there might be guys that might be eyeballing the double move there.
Guess we'll see. We will see. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke and get your discount for the year. Thanks, Tyson, for joining the show. And if you want to give him a follow, at Tyson the Terminator 69 on Instagram. Thanks, mate. All right, it's time for the team of the week. it goes Edwards at the back, To'o on one wing, Lehigh on the other wing, Latrell and Alamotti in the centres, Ezra Mam at 6, Dewey at 7, McKaylee at 8, Plath at 9, Jackson Ford at 10, Hamole at 11, Duncan at 12, Twal at 13, Crichton at 14, Willison at 15, Fainu at 16, and Aaron Clark rounds it out at 17. That is the team of the week. Okay, let's just get straight into it, shall we? It is the Tigers defeating the Raiders 33-14. And the NordVPN defense play of the week is KO Week's hit on Adam Dewey. Wow. My God. Like, it just shows you how explosive KO Weeks is. Because Dewey is not a small bloke. He is not a small bloke. Fucking boom. I couldn't believe it. What are your thoughts on that hit, mate?
Speed is power, Kempy. I wouldn't know much about it. You would. But I thought that was one of the great examples of all time.
Oh, my God. Absolutely just straight through his chest. Absolutely crazy. So, guys, that's the NordVPN defense play of the week. I was overseas before the season and used NordVPN for myself, sporting events, TV shows, movies, you name it. I watched it like I was back home, which was super convenient. Another great feature is that you can switch your virtual location to so many different places in the world. This allows you to save money by purchasing flights, hotels, subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. It's also super safe. NordVPN provides you with privacy online, leaving no digital footprint by hiding your IP address. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak online. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloke. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan, and there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. And we've got quite a few messages in regards to that. Guys, in the podcast description box is the link to use for the massive discount, because quite a few people message asking and have used it. But yeah, the West Tigers, do we dare to dream? We're heading into round 9, and they are currently sitting 3rd. They are looking better than ever. I think that, okay, if you're going to sit here and go against the top tier sides, how will they go? That's the big question. You know, they lost obviously to the Broncos, but outside of the top tier, they seem to be handling well. Anything below, 5th or 6th, really. I'm trying to think in regards to some of their other wins.
I mean, they beat the Warriors over there in New Zealand. They had a big win over there. The Warriors are doing well.
Yep.
I think for me, mate, coming out of this game, last week, the West Tigers played the Brisbane Broncos. They were favourites in that game, I would imagine, for the first time just about ever against the Brisbane Broncos. They lost that one. They came into this game as favourites against the Raiders at home. I think for the first time, the West Tigers are experiencing expectation. First time in probably 15 years. And I think to see them get a win like this, and you know what, the Raiders were missing players, all that sort of stuff, but there is the aspect of that takes the pressure off the Canberra Raiders. And realistically, if Appy didn't get sin-binned, I think the West Tigers win this 30-0. I really do. So I think it's a huge tick next to the name of the West Tigers. Dealing with expectation is a new thing they're having to deal with. And yeah, they did what they needed to do. They had a big win.
Yeah, and like even the points scored was essentially all when Appy was off the field.
All of them, yeah.
And so it's like, it's a really, really impressive win. And so they were only missing Sasungi and Hudson Young. Like it's not like they're missing bloody 8 players. Some.
Yeah, Josh Papali'i as well. But yeah, it's like, but there's an argument there that they've been their 2 best players this year.
Yeah.
So, but I think as well, like if I'm the Raiders, if I was Ricky Stewart going to that game, there's no pressure on them. I think it's exactly where Ricky likes to be. It's where he likes to play his footy, and the West Tigers got the job done.
Yeah, outstanding performance. I want to talk about Alex Twal. I cannot believe how good he's playing. I genuinely cannot believe how good it is.
Yeah, it's sort of, he's been around for a long time. He's been a good player for a long period of time, but the jump this year has just been crazy. And honestly, the closer we get to State of Origin and with Payne Haas out, a few other guys floating around, Alex Twal's going to go very close, I think. And Terrell May is also doing a tremendous job. I think there's a world where you get double Tiger pick there. I really do.
Well, you're heading into Origin, and one of the big selections that you want to do is like picking players from teams that are winning, because it's just they're in that confident mindset. They're absolutely flying. Now, I understand sometimes you'll pick battlers from lower tier teams because they've done it before. But yeah, why not? Why not take players out of a Tigers team that at this stage? Now, we'll see, over the next few weeks they are playing the Sharkies, and then I think their next game is... So they got the Sharkies, they got Storm. You know what's crazy about this year's? When you actually think about it, outside of the Panthers, who is actually that much better than the Tigers this year?
Yep, exactly right. And they, if I'm them, I wouldn't be too worried about the Sharkies next week. I don't think the Melbourne Storm's going to phase them all that much as well. So, like, this is the other thing. You talk about these forwards maybe playing Origin. Like, Jarome Luai is the other one. Everyone's saying Mitch Moses in the halves. Like, why can't you go Cleary and Jarome Luai if he's playing well? Adam Dewey's the other one as well. Matt Burton sort of had a mortgage on that utility spot the last few years in these extended squads. I personally think Dewey's playing much better footy and can cover more spots.
And you got Api Coruscant as well, that could potentially play 9. Look, I'm a big believer in. I'm shocked that more people aren't putting Jarome Luai's name up. Like, he's essentially had one bad series for New South Wales. Every other series he's been quite good. He was the 6 that broke the drought.
And came up with the play as well.
Yeah.
Roman best away for that
So
try.
it's kind of like, this idea that he just hasn't delivered in Origin. It's just not true. He was also the 6 that had the record margin win in 2021. I'm with you. There is a world where multiple Tigers get selected. There really is. And so it's going to be so interesting when we get closer to Origin as to who that is. The performances, Alex Twal, what I love for him, we go back a few years where, remember when it got essentially, well, not leaked, it was just reported that the Tigers weren't going to re-sign Alex Twal. And we were just going, what the hell? Like, if there's one guy, we're talking about a cultural rebuild. If there's one guy in the forwards you want to re-sign, it's a guy like Alex Twal. Takes care of his body. And also, we're all guilty of it. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm better than anyone else, but so we're all guilty of it. But his defense has always been some of the best. It's half the game.
Yep.
Defense is half the game. Like right now, for example, the Broncos are literally winning their games with essentially pure defense. And so, I feel like he never really got the proper appreciation for it. Anyway, so, to my understanding, he went out in the market, was about to sign with another club, and then basically the Tigers had to change of heart and said, no, there's been a misunderstanding, and then he signed a longer-term deal. And look what it's done for him.
Yeah, and the thing that's, he's always had a good motor, but he's obviously playing 70+ minutes just about every single week. I think he might have played the 80 minutes in this game. Big thing for me, mate, is 57 tackles on the weekend, which is enormous. But he's the offload, he's getting through a heap of work with the ball in hand. He's just really well-rounded. And I think when you do look at that New South Wales perspective, once again, without Payne Haas, he's a big minute forward that we've lost, our main big minute forward. You're going to need guys to step up into those roles. And I think this is where these West Tigers boys, obviously Jackson Ford doing great things over there, but I think they're going to really come in handy.
And his gas tank's going to be fine. That's one thing that he has essentially better than anyone, or at least as good as some of the fittest guys. But he had a try assist, 22 runs, 176 metres, 52 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 3 offloads, 57 tackles, 0 miss. Those are Payne Haas numbers. Those are Payne Haas numbers. That's just absolutely incredible.
Those Alex 12 numbers, Kempy.
Yeah, sorry, apologies. Yeah, the 12 numbers. Apologies. I'm so stoked for him. He's just continued to work brick by brick on his game, taking care of his body, and we're seeing the fruits of that. Another guy I want to give it, I cannot believe how, I'll never forget when he got named at 7 in that trial. Adam Dewey. And I'm going, Adam Dewey at 7, 6, I can definitely, I could kind of see 6. At the time, I'll be honest, I thought he was more of a centre. Mate, he has been a revelation at the club.
He's been going so good. And, mate, I still, when I watch him play halfback sometimes, he's a little bit unorthodox. And sometimes I think he's a little bit predictable when I'm sitting at home watching what he's doing. But it works.
Yeah.
It works week in, week out. And whether he's, a genuine 7 or a genuine 6 or whatever, he's a genuine footballer. And if it works for the Tigers, gives a shit what it looks like.
Yeah.
They love it. They know how to play with it, and it works.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he's a big, strong body. He seems to pick his moments really well when to run. And he is truly one of the halves that, out of a lot of, in regards to having to worry about whether they will run, he'd probably be in the top 3 or 4 because he's such a big body.
Yeah. Yep.
You've got a guy like Jerome Hughes, Munster, and obviously their form's not great. But in regards to edge defenders going, holy shit, this guy's big as anything. I need to get my body in front, so therefore I can't check that man and slide off to the next. Adam Dewey would probably be the biggest, not probably, he is the biggest 7 in the competition.
Yep, agreed. I think, all the attention's gone to Kai Pearce-Paul so far this year, and rightly so, he's been great. But, mate, Samuel Ofinu, he's another one that I wonder, obviously there's the Tallis Duncans, the Jacob Prestons of the world, but, mate, he's another one. I think he'd do a job in an Origin right now.
Mate, he definitely should at least be in the conversation. He definitely should be in the conversation. And whether it's this year or the following year, I mean, the good thing of New South Wales, and look, you're never really struggling for I guess, players. But the good thing is there are so many informed players right now for New South Wales.
Yep.
Especially in the forwards, like far out. Like trying to pick that, especially if Haas was injured, like if he wasn't injured, think of the depth you'd have in that forward pack.
Yep.
Like you could essentially pick an A and a B forward pack and they would both be probably at origin level. So yeah, just so good to see. And then so you've got Dewey, then you've got Terrell May, who has just been Mr. Consistent, 23 runs, 204 metres, 75 post contact, 5 tackle breaks, 2 offload, 30 tackles, 0 misses. It's just, they're playing exciting footy. They're up and about. They look happy. And what impresses me the most, especially at the start of the game, they were more willing to get into the grind than the Raiders, which shocked me beyond belief because, if that's the Raiders' bread and butter. They love that stuff. They love the physicality. They love ball and play. And it was actually the Tigers applying so much pressure that you actually saw even Tarpany throw a silly offload. I think Starling threw a silly offload. And so that only happens when pressure is being applied. And I think that's the difference. Like, we've seen Tigers have great attack before, but I don't know if we've ever seen them have the great attack mixed with the ability to just grind. Basically, you know who else I thought played really well? Taruva. I thought he was really good, took a lot of tough carries. A little bit of a brouhaha at the end there. Jeez, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall. What was said?
Sort of felt like they were going after Starling a little bit throughout the evening as well. So I would love to know what played out there.
Well, I think Starling was, also Starling's defence, he was shooting up out of line. I actually thought Starling was outstanding. But yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. What was said, the gossip in me, the gossip queen in me is just want to know. Just want to know.
I love the scenes as well. I saw them on social media of after the game, like Benji Marshall and Jarome Luai sort of just going out and seeing fans after the game, and just the way that they interact with media, with each other across social media, and obviously all the vlogs and everything come out of there. I love the way the West Tigers are doing things at the moment, and I just really hope, mate, that if it does turn and they're not winning games of football, I hope they just keep this culture going. Because I think it's really cool what they're doing. I think it's the way they're embracing fans, and it's just, and everything's easy when you're winning, obviously.
Yeah.
But I love the direction the West Tigers are going in at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. There's so much energy and there is a youthful exuberance about the Tigers at the moment. And they do feel like a new age club that it's almost, there's a lot of, it's an egalitarian kind of club where obviously there's a hierarchy, but for example, how often would you see a head coach of an NRL out the front gate just shooting the shit with a bunch of fans?
Even the way that, on Terrell May's vlogs and everything, the way that he just talks to Benji during training, not during training, but around training, the way they have those conversations, it's really cool to see, and it just opens the door for fans. Once again, I'm keen to see how it all plays out, and I hope that Benji and the West Tigers still lean into this even when things aren't going unbelievably they are now. It's a really interesting time, and seeing what they're doing and stuff, I like it.
And Appy Coruscant's 10 in the bin. Thoughts?
Yeah,
we're in a tough spot.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what a fucking hit drop is anymore.
Now I'm with you now.
I get told things by the judiciary. I get told things by commentary, and I just sit there and go, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
I think it was initially brought in, and it was pretty clear when it was brought in. It was you wrap your hands around their waist, you drop their weight, and you land on the back of their legs intentionally to bring them down. But it is literally changed to, if you tackle someone from behind and land on their legs, that's a hip drop.
Yeah, and you change all these rules. It's all about fatigue. You've got a faster game than we've ever had. Hot tip, shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's gonna genuinely get to the point where you will have to let a player run past you.
Yeah. And I also think, and I sort of tiptoed around this last week, but I think the other side of it is too, mate, we've now got these rules where referees are being told if a player's injured because of something like that, the punishment gets lifted.
Well, Nikorima's situation with Mitch Kenny
100%
was a perfect example of that.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he was sweet.
Yep.
And then it was 10 in the bin. And look, I get it. I get the other argument as well. I understand you just lost a player for 6 weeks. I totally understand. That's so frustrating as a team, but as a fan. But it's kind of there's got to be some middle ground. I do think there are extreme circumstances, like the Bailey Simonson one, where it's just it's so extreme that you just have to. But it doesn't have to be so black and white. Surely there's a grey area that we can land in that kind of we keep some semblance of, essentially it feels like we're going to get raced to the bottom where if you ever get injured while running the ball, you get a penalty against you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and coaches are going to start to say, whenever something like that, you stay down. Let our doctor come out, let him do a test, let him run out with a stretcher if he has to, because referees are reacting to it. I hate to say it, but it is a race to the bottom as far as how deep coaches are willing to go to take advantage of this stuff. And we've learned from the history of the game, they'll do what they have to do to win.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what direction we go with the hip drop, because I get where the NRL is coming from. I get where fans are coming from of injured players. But I also get, the idea that the definition has changed so much and it's so vague that it's gone from a specific technique all the way to essentially, if you land on the back of someone's legs, that is a hip drop. That's how far it's gone, which is like, there was even a penalty, Dallin with Teddy Zelezniak, that didn't land on the back of his legs. He just pulled him back and it looked awkward. He got a penalty against him and didn't land on the back of his legs. How's that a hip drop?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's getting to the point where, like, if you lose a contact, it's you run a risk each time.
It's just,
and all the rules are built towards make it more an exciting and attacking brand of footy, which is fine. It's enjoyable, but like ramifications are you're going to have guys that are just hanging on for dear life in tackles. They don't.
And like sometimes someone gets put in an awkward position playing rugby league.
Yep.
Like this idea that we can coach the injuries out of rugby league, it is never going to happen. Never, ever. And that one I couldn't believe, because like there was literally a replay showing that he didn't land on the back of his legs. In slow-mo, you could see it happening, and he still got a penalty just because the ref was like, I don't like the look of that. It looks bad. So it's not a good look, so we're going to call it.
Optics.
Yeah. Just like, and as I said, like there's a once in a blue moon situation where it's extreme, where you go, listen, like, fuck, it's so extreme. That happens like once every 5 years or something like that. Literally, not the week to week stuff where you're kind of like, anyway. The Raiders, mate. The Raiders. So Ricky Stewart, he has come out. He is quite obviously disappointed. The errors are killing them. Look, it's not too late, of course, but have they left it? Do you think he's left it a little bit too late to be hard on the boys, at least publicly? He's been very, very understanding this year, Ricky. Very, very patient with his playing group. And I would like to note as well, like, I think that last year's year was so out of the blue that we're actually forgetting where the Raiders are in a rebuild. And so, like, when you actually look at their spine, we're talking about the youngest spine in the competition. And so, like, I think that it's a mixture of two things. The errors need to go, but also let's just remember where they are. The second year of a rebuild.
Yeah, yeah. And I sort of spoke about this in the preseason. I had the Raiders outside my 8 just because I was a little bit worried about their spine, and not that it was all their debut years, but when you have a big breakout season like that and everything goes well, and like if you go back and have a look at that season, like the amount of games the Raiders won in the last 20 minutes doing unbelievable stuff, it's not sustainable realistically. And you've seen that come to the front this year. I think losing Jamal Fogarty, I think people and myself as well kind of slept on how important that was going to be, having a 30-year-old in the halves. And I mean, the other side of it is that I think Owen Paddy's probably the best hooker at the club. He's not in the team at the moment. I understand what Ricky's doing there. I do appreciate that Ricky hasn't hit the panic button and brought back in Owen Paddy and changed all that sort of stuff. I can't see them playing finals footy this year. I think that at the point they're at now, you're going to have Origin's going to come. Hudson Young's going to go and play Origin. You saw, how important he is to that side over the weekend. If you didn't already know, I've got my concerns about the Raiders, and I'm not sure if they're going to turn it around realistically.
So right now they're 2 wins outside the 8. They haven't had their bye yet. So, I mean, they're still in touch. They're one. If you give them their bye, they're there. So I do think they'll probably land mid-table from anywhere from like 7 till 10, I reckon. That's probably where they'll land at the moment. But I just wanted to reiterate that fact is like, let's remember, sometimes, like, what did we speak about all last year? How ahead of the plan they were. And sometimes it's like, okay, we just take a couple steps back, or at least one step back to take 2 steps forward. And I think that's where the Raiders are at right now. It's like, they had this crazy year, but it's like, no, we blood these young guys in. We don't pay, they had a tough choice to make. And the choice was this: give Fogarty 2 years and potentially lose Sanders and probably not be able to recruit even Kobe Black because that's 2 years where you're not going to play first grade, or bite the bullet for potential premiership in 4 or 5 years and put Sanders in. And I actually admire the Raiders for being as gutsy as they have with that decision. But in saying all that, that doesn't excuse the error count that they have. Or not even the error count. The error count wasn't that bad on the weekend. It's just like, it's the times that they make the errors that just kill them. Absolutely kill them.
Yeah, and I mean, they are a very unique situation in that, there are not many teams in the history of the game that you could have an entire spine that's probably started less than 200 NRL games, I would say, and people like certainties for the 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unheard of, realistically.
Yeah. I mean, you look at their halves. You've got a 20-year-old Strange, a 20-year-old 7. Like, your 6 and your 7 are 20 years old, essentially. Then you've got KO Weeks, 23, but he's really in his second full year of first grade. So one thing in regards to KO Weeks, I do think he does need quite a lot of work on his ball playing. It's been serviceable over the years, but there were a few times on the weekend where instead of going into the line on a 3 and 2, he just passed the ball straight away, and it was just like it's just the timing of that pass. I understand the idea of get early ball to your centers, but that's kind of like what separates the really, really good fullbacks from just the good fullbacks, is that knowing when to give early ball and knowing also when to go deep into the line and hit that 3 on 2. There was just a couple of times where, and to be fair and to be totally clear, like KO Weeks, he's been one of their best players all season long. But just noticing on the weekend, like just some of that subtle ball playing, I reckon that's probably the last piece of the puzzle for KO Weeks.
I think it's really interesting. Like, obviously, KO, he is the fullback. He should be the fullback 100%. But I think there's parts of his game that sort of don't get spoken about because every month he comes up with a highlight that you go, oh my God, how did he do that sort of thing? But, I would be interested to see what they look like with Dane Laurie at fullback. I really would, because he's a dynamic footballer, Dane Laurie, and I cannot believe it's taken until this week for him to find a spot in this team somewhere. I don't know how you do it. I know they run with 2 hookers and all that sort of stuff, but I just reckon he's just such a talented guy, Dane Laurie, that I'd be finding a spot for him somewhere. Once again, KO would be my fullback. But there are those parts of his game that aren't as well-rounded as other guys that I just wonder what sort of an impact Dane Laurie could have on this side.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like, Strange is such a ball runner. And then if you add that on, it's like, so you've got Starling ball runner, you've got Strange ball runner, KO Weeks ball runner. And yeah, like that creativity at this stage needs to look. They are so young. Fuck,
they're so young, and that's the hard thing. It's what we need to keep reminding ourselves about. But where are you at with Ethan Sanders, mate? Kobe Black's doing good things down in reserve grade.
I'm pretty happy, to be honest. Like I don't think he's been that bad. I really don't. I'm just a bit like every time Fogarty got into their good ball, he had Strange, essentially one of the best weapons in the competition, getting early ball.
Yep.
Sanders doesn't have that because they're on the opposite side. And I just want to see what it would look like, their attack with Strange on the other side and Sanders having that weapon to go to. Because at the moment, like, they're in this really weird spot that if Hudson Young isn't playing, they really, like, and Sasangi, which is like, essentially those 2 players, without them, they're going to struggle to score points. And like, and look, maybe that is, you could say that about most sides if they're missing their 2 best attacking players. But like, you'd think that, I feel like most teams have more than 2 good attacking players, like really good attacking players. So I just think that he's a bit hamstrung as a 7 because he doesn't have the weapon that most 7s usually have, which is their 6. Like, for example, you look at the Broncos and like when they need something, they throw the ball to Ezra and he'll make something happen.
Yep.
And you look at the mirror with the Bulldogs game where, like, look at the mirror between Mam and Burton in regards to creating things when in good ball. It's just like night and day. And so I would love to see Sanders with that weapon, but I've actually been relatively okay with him. I don't think he's been poor by any stretch.
I think the other thing that, and I understood where Ricky was coming from, but I cannot believe Owen Paddy's not in this side yet. He's now played 8 games of New South Wales Cup where he's played 60 minutes or more in each of them. So he's getting the experience there. And, mate, 8 games, 5 tries, 6 try assists, 6 line break assists, tackling at 90%, averaging 73 run meters per game. You got to get him back in there.
Yeah.
I like Jaden Bradley, he's a very good player, but He's not a 14.
No, he doesn't really offer impact.
He doesn't offer any
If
impact.
he's going to start, he's a starter.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
He's a great starter too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think that.
Is it a tough one?
No, as in like, if you believe what Ricky Stewart's saying, of like building towards the future and being patient, that would require a full season in New South Wales Cup of like just grinding it out. But sometimes players are just too good for New South Wales Cup, and it's like this is a waste of time. So, yeah. Do you want him playing 20 minutes a game for the rest of the season? Compare that to like 70 minutes a game every single week in New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he was such an important part of this side last year.
Yeah,
Did so well that he offers a bit of spark, and they are. I can't believe the other night they were without Simi Sasang and Hudson Young. I would argue they're two best players, without a doubt. They're two best attacking players so far this year. Still didn't use Owen Paddy, which I found so interesting.
Yeah.
Especially when you're chasing points. Put Jaden Brayley out there.
Yeah. I mean, I will give Ricky credit. Like, he has been really good at timing these kind of things. So, but I think it's definitely a watch. I don't think that they can go the whole year like this. Like, I don't think that they can continue to have not very much impact off the bench in the key role like that. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, onto the Cowboys versus the Sharks. 46-34. I guess it's enjoyable at times having these big scoring games, but watching this game, it was just like, for me, I just didn't enjoy it. Like, good win for the Cowboys. Good on ya. Like, you got the win. You turned things around very quickly, which is great. But in regards to like style of footy, like 46-34, like, gee, it was just, honestly, it was like you score a try, you score a try, you score a try, you score two tries, you score two tries. And I hope this isn't the new normal. I hope it comes back to I hope this is just the start of the season jitters and it comes back down to normalcy mid-year.
Yeah, I mean, it's same game multi-footy, isn't it? Realistically. That's the only enjoyment you get out of these. Well, the only enjoyment I really get out of these games. And, it's round 8. We're a third of the way through.
No.
It's scary. I thought, look, the Cowboys did exactly what we know the Cowboys can do. Scored a heap of points, conceded a heap of points. This is, in my opinion, who the Cowboys have been for a while here, apart from that one season where they were defensively unbelievable. For me, mate, the Sharkies, to come out of a bye and concede 46 points for a team that I think we all had in our top 4.
Yeah, it's definitely
bad.
It's bad. I think it's a mixture of two things. I think it's the Cowboys are better than probably we thought they were going to be at the start of the year, but also the Sharkies are probably not as good as we thought they were heading into this year, because 46 points, like, out of a bye, and also against a team that, they got good attack, but it's not like they haven't been shut down before. We're not talking. They're not a top 4 side usually. Sharkies are such an interesting one because, like, they'll have games like this where you go, mate, you're not going to make the top 4 and you'll be lucky to make the 8. Like, even last year, you remember last year where they went through that patch where they were sitting like 11th and it was like, they're done. And then they just go on these crazy runs and, well, not runs, but like they get it together and they kind of jag wins here or there. And then you look up at the table, they're sitting like 5th or whatever. But a very disappointing night for the Sharks. I actually don't think, like, obviously the loss is disappointing, but I actually think that Fitzy would just be more pissed off at the amount of points that was leaked. Like 46 points. Like, that's usually an absolute drubbing.
100%, yeah. And I think that when you look at, like, certain teams, I think the Cowboys are the greatest example. Sometimes teams are a real reflection of their star player or their coach. And I think the Cowboys, this is Scott Drinkwater rugby league, realistically, has been for the last few years. And I just like this. That performance just does not reflect Craig Fitzgibbon in any way, shape, or form. I think it would have him furious coming out of this game the way that it played out, in particular when you've got 2 weeks to prepare and you're coming off a loss in Perth. 2 weeks off a loss, defense should be the number one thing for the Sharkies going into this game. And
notoriously, known for their grittiness, the Sharkies. And so, very disappointing for the Sharks. And look, the good thing is they're still sitting mid-table, so it's not a disaster. They're still connected to the 8. But I do want to give, although they did leak a lot of points to Cowboys, like, they're doing much better than I thought they were going to be doing. Like,
100%.
Like, much better than I thought they were going to be doing. And I think Peyton deserves a lot of credit. Like, yes, they had that absolute disaster week last week, and yes, there is like this history of streaks, but he turned around really quickly this time. So you can only judge off what's happening each week. And right now, terrible last week, but quick turnaround. And look, the Sharks, you know, they're no like it's not like they're a bottom four side. Like it's still a decent win against a Sharky side, even though the Sharks didn't play that well. In regards to individual performances, mate, I just think McKaylee is like a breakout star for them this year. I can't believe how good he has been.
Yeah, he's really coming to his own this year. Finally, I almost don't want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it. But he's doing good things. I said last week that they played the Thursday night against Manly. He got over the try line, almost got the ball down and dropped it. I reckon if he scores that, it would have changed the momentum of that game. Personally, I really do. And yeah, good again this week. Obviously, he was named in the back row, played through the middle to start that game. He's looking good, mate. And as we've said for the last 2 years, if he can be the guy that can just play 30 minutes of his best footy each week, he changes this side completely.
Mate, that shot on near quarter, like, oh my God, absolutely. You know, that line that near quarter runs, like, how often, at the very least, does he get a quick play of the ball? Yeah. He absolutely jammed him. You do not see that very often. I mean, to be honest, I can't even remember a time without
not like that. No.
He absolutely fucking jammed him. Now, granted, McKaylee is way bigger than Niokora, but it still is a massive shot. You know, playing on the edge there, getting your feet in the right place, especially, you know, a guy as big as him. Drinky is the Cowboys.
Yep.
He was terrible last week. He came out this week. He was absolutely phenomenal to the point where, you know, the game is in the balance at the end to a degree. 40-20 ends the game. Like, fuck. He is just an absolute enigma. I'd love to know in the weeks where he struggles, like, what is it? Like, is it preparation? Is it something, you know, is it overtraining, undertraining? Is it whatever it is? Because if you can somehow, get this version of Drinky every single week, the Dragons are in for an absolute treat of a player.
Yeah, I think they're going to love him at the Red V. I think they're going to be. I mean, the Dragons. If I'm a Dragons fan, I just want us to be entertaining and relevant for the first time. And with Drinkwater, they immediately are.
And he is so creative that you can actually afford to have conservative 6 and 7, and he will make something happen.
100%. Yep.
And so it's like that's what's going to be exciting for the Red V. I think it's a really smart buy, especially when, like, what is their worst? Like, what's their worst trade at the moment? Their creativity. Like, they really struggle. And listen, if Cade Reid can continue to improve, those two together, there'll be a bit of magic there for sure.
Yeah, and I think from a Cowboys perspective, Drinky has been fantastic for them for a long time, but he's also been the face of them. He's been the attitude and approach of them that they play a Scott Drinkwater style of footy. So for a while, I think it's time that Tom Dearden's the face of this side. Tom Dearden's an origin forward who I'm sure he would come off the field 46-34 and go, we won, but good God.
Yeah, what the hell?
What the fuck just happened?
22 line breaks.
That's insane.
22 line
Like, you look at the way that Dearden plays Origin, the way that he puts his body on the line, the amount of big defensive plays that he comes up with, he should be the face of this franchise.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, how many, like, is that a line break every...
It's like every, was it
4
5 minutes? 3 minutes?
5 minutes, something like that.
That's crazy.
Oh, far out. So Drinky, absolutely phenomenal. In regards to his stats, he was actually my fullback of the week until Teddy and then Edwards came and had an absolute blinder. But I'll just get his stats up here. A try, 3 try assists, 172 metres, 5 tackle breaks, a line break, 3 line break assists. I mean, just an absolute outstanding performance. Outside of that, still some concerns with their edge defence, like absolutely torn to shreds, especially that, I think it's their left side. Actually, was it their right side? I'll just get my notes up. Sorry.
Their right
side.
edge,
yes. Chester is such a gun. I love him. He is so fucking good. They just need to sort out that defense though, because it's getting tough.
Yeah, it is. You got Purdue and Chester, who I think neither of them are probably out and out centers realistically, but well, I think that's where Tom Chester's going to be for the foreseeable future. So it is, but once again, it's the Cowboys' DNA. It doesn't seem to faze them.
Yeah, they find a way to win. But in attack, I love everything about Chester. There's a star there. There really is. Just going to rough around the edges a little bit in defense. So, look, they got the win. The Cowboys doing much better. They're sitting 8th, I think, which is great. they live to fight another day. They live to fight another day, and they're doing a lot better than some of these other teams. So you can't be
100%.
too negative at all. We already spoke about the Sharkies. Guys, will be a little bit quicker with the teams just because we're going to have a shorter a shorter show because it's obviously a public holiday. But yeah, just quickly, Sharkies. Look, they'd want to pull it together because I think that if they don't pull it together and they don't finish the year strong, I do think there's going to be a massive clean out of the club.
Just very quickly for Sharkies, can you believe, if you go back to our round 2 review, the Cowboys are looking busted. The coach is about to be sacked. Melbourne are absolutely flying. No one's getting in their way. The way that those 2 seasons have flipped it's been
Insane.
Unbelievable.
Insane. If you said to me that the Melbourne Storm would be the one under the absolute pump, it'd be insane.
Crazy. The Sharkies.
Do you agree though? Do you think there's going to be a big clean out if this group of men?
Oh, there has to be. That and this is the most disappointing thing. They've been building to this season for what feels like 5 years now.
Yeah, and they've done a good job at it too.
It's a great roster.
Yeah.
There's no question in the roster.
And they've done really well building incrementally each year, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. But right now, and as you said earlier in the show, mate, they can turn this around at any given moment. We've seen them do it before, but yeah, it's very concerning at the moment. Craig Fitzgibbon's signed up for the next few years now, isn't he?
Yeah, so I actually found it super interesting that they re-signed him so early in the season because I reckon that they were probably scared, because the reality is this, I know there's some Sharks fans, for some reason, they don't rate Fitzy. I cannot understand that for the life of me. But there is a real reality where Fitzy could sit there and go, maybe I need to go to a big club to get success. Maybe I need to go to a club that has more resources, that is going to deliver me more things that I need, going to be easy to recruit. And so I think it was smart from the Sharks locking him up to 2030. But I do think that he's done a really good job at slowly each year getting a bit better. However, I think he's probably aware as well. His job will probably be on the line if he sticks with this playing group for too long. Because it's kind of like, mate, you built it up, didn't work. You either reset or what are we doing here? We're just treading water.
Yep.
So, yeah, that playing group definitely needs to lock in. Now, the good thing is, though, we've seen them absolutely do this. Many, many years where they've done this, where they've looked like terrible, not good, not going to make the 8, and then they just go boom, and all of a sudden you look up, they've made top 5. So I think since Fitzy arrived, it's been like 2nd, 6th, 5th, and that was a prelim year, and then last year, prelim year as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if they can get to this origin period around that, 7th to 10th sort of mark, which I've got them at the moment, once again, they're not going to lose any players to origin. Oh, sorry, they'll lose Adden.
Maybe Brayley.
Maybe Brayley. So actually, yeah, so they probably will lose a few more this year.
But they do have...
We've got Jaden Beryl there.
And he's pretty...
He's good.
He's
Yeah.
But, it's just I just want to... Look, it's early in the season, but I just want to look at the Sharks and before we get into finals footy, go, oh, fuck, you know what? They can do it. And be fully... I want them flying on a run, winning 4 or 5 on the trot, heading into finals footy where you're genuinely this is the informed side of the competition. I think they're gonna need that kind of momentum heading into finals. Still a long way away, but I think that they need to start building towards it very, very soon. Time for the Broncos. They defeat the Bulldogs 32-12. And don't forget, May 4th, guys. May 4th is when the jerseys are dropping. That is next week, 6 p.m. Bloke jerseys are dropping. They will arrive before Magic Round. Limited edition. It's the most limited we've ever done. We've never done these designs before. It's the OG colors. You don't want to miss out. Make sure to set your alarm 6 p.m. next week. They're going to go quick. Okay, the Doggies get beaten 32-12. Roo, I'll just go straight to you, mate. What's going on at the Dogs?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't think they've got any idea. This is a week-to-week guessing game with the Canterbury Bulldogs. I had a feeling during the week, I think you were the same, the Broncos might get a win here. They probably did it more convincingly than what I expected. I think since we spoke last Monday about this, in the lead up to this game, there was more players ruled out for the Broncos, all that sort of stuff. I found it interesting that Jake Turpin came in and played 60-odd minutes there. They changed their spine up again. We spoke,
and when Hayward came on at 13, they looked their best.
Yep. Yeah, I thought kind of Tracy was pretty average in this game. I thought that, spoke about it last week, but mate, I hate to say it, I like him as a fella, but I think teams are going in with a game plan to target Marcelo Montoya down that edge too. And I think
I think it's time. And
teams are executing week in, week out. Like he's,
Yeah, he's a great fella, but look, this happens in everyone's career. You find form, you lose form. I think he needs just a stint in New South Wales Cup just to get that confidence back because it's rattled. I think
the hard thing is they probably don't have anyone to put in there at the moment. Like I think as soon as Kiraz becomes available, he'll come in for Jonathan Su'A. I'd probably give Su'A an opportunity.
I'd be giving Su'A was outstanding.
Well, Su'A's been good, and I think Anari Tuala has been fantastic so far this year. Just that hamstring's kept him out. I think they have to make a change on that edge because it's becoming too easy for teams.
Yeah. I think Su'A should get an opportunity. I thought Su'A was absolutely phenomenal. He was easily the Bulldogs' best player. He's ready for first grade. And so that's a positive, I guess, a silver lining for the Dogs that you get a guy like Su'A coming in and looking as good as he is. I'd be giving an opportunity when Kiraz comes back. But let's talk about the Bailey Hayward situation. What I just cannot understand. As I try to think of every single angle that makes sense. But so only 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago against the Knights, you make it essentially an admission that the 6 isn't working because you swap Critter in, you put Burton out of centre. But then you go back to that, which is so strange to me. And then this situation where you're in round whatever and you start Turpin over Hayward and bring Hayward on at 13. Now, apologies if he played a bit of a hooker at the when he came on, but I remember seeing him at 13 as the link man quite a lot. And it's just kind of like it feels like 1 week they think, okay, this is the best spine possible, and then the next week they just go, no, we're going to go back to the old. I don't know what the thought process is, and it was easily Bailey Hayward's best minutes that he'd spent on the field all year long. And now they're up in a situation where, is Turpin the guy that's going to be in that spine now going forward?
And if he is, and you're going to have Hayward playing that, link man role, what does that mean for Jamin Salmon and Kurt Mann? Like, how do you... I almost feel like they've created... out of all the problems Canterbury had, I'm not sure if Hayward was the biggest one, realistically. And I think now they've created another problem or two out of that.
It's so strange because now fans have seen him at 13 and gone, that's the Hayward we know from a couple of years ago that was outstanding. And then you go, okay, so is a spine of Turpin, like Galvin, Burton, and Tracy going to win a comp? No, it's not. Crazy things have happened, but I don't think so. And also, I don't even think the Bulldogs planned for this to be like this. So I just can't understand what's going on.
But yeah, I don't think the Bulldogs planned for it to be like this, but I don't understand what the Bulldogs planned for it to look like.
Well, I feel like we initially knew the plan, which was it looked like the way the cards are going to settle was Burton was going to be in centres, Bailey Hayward was their long-term 9, Galvin would be 6, O'Sullivan would be 7 initially for this transition period, and then Mitch Wood would come in and be 7. But even after the game, Serraldo was asked, do you still think that do you still think Galvin is a 7? And he said, did you think Galvin was a 7 2 weeks ago? And I understand why Serraldo is a bit prickly and he's got the world on his shoulders. He's under pump. So I get it. I'd probably be way worse in that situation. But unfortunately, surely you're not judging one game. What about the other 6 games, 7 games? So do we just hang on that one game? And also he made a point to say he's a 20-year-old half, and emphasize the word half. So I was I just think it's a bit unfair for Dogs to get frustrated at that question when clearly they also are a bit non-committal to whether Galvin is the long-term 7.
I don't know. Is him getting a little bit prickly about that? Is that potentially a nod to that it's not, there are too many voices there?
Yeah.
For a head coach, name me another coach in this league that has someone like Gus that's also obviously helping out. They've got fucking Gus spoke about it the other day about AI versions of him and all this. It's just a lot to take in, and there's a lot of chopping and changing. Which
I've said it for weeks and weeks now. It feels like there are conflicting ways forward and conflicting ideas of what direction this squad should head.
Which if I was Serraldo, I would be fucking prickly about it.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's the one that has to stand up there and face up to it every single week. And if it is him that's making these decisions, then so be it. You make your own bed. But I'm not convinced it is.
Well, I just can't see how it possibly is when he makes decisions on the run that conflict against that. Like he puts Burton in at centre. He puts Bailey Hayward on the bench and then puts him on at 13. Now, apologies if he played 9, but I remember him a lot being the link man. He played 30 minutes. We know Bailey Hayward is a favourite of Serraldo as well, he backs him and loves him as a player. It's just, it is truly the only thing that makes sense to me is there's conflicting directions that the club wants to head in. Because anything outside of that, it felt like they'd done all this really aggressive, hard work to get this team in shape to push for a comp, and they've taken a step. It's almost like just as they got to the door of that comp, it's just gone completely off the rails.
Yep. And quite often that happens. It's salary cap, it's injury, it's off field, it's their own selection decisions, which is the most frustrating thing about it. Like they've had this go their way, the way that they wanted to do it. And now you're coming back full circle to where you put Jake Turpin back into hooker, like an out-and-out hooker, which you had in Reed.
You had Reed, like...
We're talking about bringing back a genuine halfback, which you had in Sexton. It's... Yeah... I don't know. I feel like they'll make another change. Like, even just take it a step further. Like, spent the whole preseason, Stephen Crichton's our left centre. He's our guy. He comes back from injury and he's at
because Cherry
right
kills
centre.
it. Yeah.
Mate, but like Cherry kills it in 2 games. You apparently had enough of a sample size throughout the preseason to be off him.
Yeah.
Or at least move him to the other side, then to drop him. I just cannot work out what is happening there.
And I've got to be honest, I feel like it is kind of leaking into the playing group a little bit. Like I feel like there is a sense of uncertainty. I feel like they're playing and second guessing themselves at times. They're lacking a bit of confidence. Oh man, it is. I feel sorry for Doggies fans because they're not out of it by any stretch. But they were so close, lead in the comp, number 1 in the competition. And yeah, like I understood why they make those calls because I do believe that they probably couldn't have won the comp with that side specifically, but they needed to. I feel like they needed to follow through with those decisions. I feel like they really, to be honest, like a little bit like what Ricky Stewart's doing right now, which is, they could have re-signed Fogarty, but he said, nah, I'm going with Sanders because my plan is this 4 or 5 year window. When I feel like the Dogs did all the hard work, they ripped the Band-Aid off. They went and did things that we'd essentially never seen before, but then they didn't follow through with it.
Yep.
And when you signed Galvin to the club, like he was a 6. Even at the end of last year, Gus Gould said he was a 6. Like, but now, I don't know. Anyway, in regards to individual performances, just a discipline. Like I was a little bit surprised that, they were surprised that he got sent 10 in the bin for the trip. Like I felt like that was a pretty clear putting your leg out. What I will say, and I said this on the Saturday show with Saturday kickoff on SEN, it's so strange for me coming from soccer. Like a trip to me is nothing. Like it's like, you get tripped all the time. So whenever someone gets 10 in the bin from it, I was like, you guys literally run at each other as hard as you can and put yourselves in a way more dangerous position every tackle. But a trip is what gets you 10 in the bin. I think it's a cultural thing.
It's a culture. It's almost like an ethical sort of. Like
yeah.
I'm like, hey, fucking dog. What are you doing? Like, it's just how you're brought up in rugby league. You just don't.
Yeah, I know. And it has to be a cultural thing because it can't be a danger thing. But what's weird is on the video ref said you put him in a dangerous position. I was like, mate, that's the least dangerous position someone's getting put in. But I understand that's the standard has been set. Everyone knows if you trip, you get sent 10 in the bin. But even like even Critter looks a little bit down on form.
Yeah.
It's just surprising, man. It just I don't know, and I don't know what the direction is going forward. Like I don't, and I think there was a real mirror. You look at the Broncos who were down on troops, but like when they needed creativity, they had a 6 that creates stuff.
Yeah.
When the Dogs need creativity, everything Burton does, he could do from center. And look, if Burton had a creative 7, then I think he would be a great 6 because he's a big ball runner, probably the best. He's probably got the most meters on average per 6 in the game. But at the moment, because Galvin is also a 6, they both kind of lack the creativity required to put points on, because Galvin, although he is a little bit more creative than Burton, he's definitely not, 7 creative or at least like Ezra Mam creative or Munster creative, or I know Munster's form's down, but I'm saying Luai creative.
Yeah. The other thing that surprised me coming out of this game, when you look at the inverse, the Broncos, Adam Reynolds kicked the ball 20 times, Ezra Mam kicked it 2, which makes total sense.
I know what you're going to say here.
Mate, Galvin had 15 kicks, Burton had 1. It was a
What
grubber.
the hell is going on?
What?
The best weapon in kicking in the comp, arguably. He must be injured.
He has to be. If he's not, like, especially in a game where you're not on top, you're trying to get yourself out of trouble constantly. How can you not be using Matty Burton? And there's not the excuse he was trapped out at centre, and it was like I could not make any sense of that whatsoever.
Like, in Reynolds kicked 776 metres. Galvin kicked 330.
Yep.
Like, and I understand that, there were periods where they were parked down Broncos' edge, but, like, that's 500 metres nearly. 400 metres. Difference. That's, how fucking much that is in. Think about how much, if you say to someone, you get an extra 400 running metres essentially, like, that's massive.
Yep.
That is massive. He must be injured. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I don't know where they go from here, because I feel like the indecision is going to hurt them. I think that, look, I'm not saying that Sean O'Sullivan is the saviour by any stretch. Like, you've got to remember, this guy, he's had plenty of opportunities at first grade, but I do think it'll at least there'll be some clear runway of, like, okay, Galvin, he gets the ball one wider. Burton can just go purely to doing what he does best, which is running the ball. I think I don't know, bro.
I think they mentioned it in commentary as well. I think it was Cooper Cronk pointed it out. But, like, even just the way that Galvin, just on last tackle, this Broncos side is defending well. They're doing great things. You've got a lot of defenders that you can target, though. Like, you've got a lot of guys that if you throw enough questions at them, you'll get results out of them. They showed us even when they won a comp, you got those players. Adam, the amount of times that Galvin and the Bulldogs just resorted to, okay, just on last tackle, just put it on the toe. I was really surprised they didn't run the football more and take more of those guys on, and at least you turn the ball over down there. Like, I look at the stat there, Galvin's got 4 forced dropouts. Like, I don't care anymore.
No, it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not worth what it used to be. You're not building pressure anymore.
But I just think, and look, Galvin's 20 years old. Let's make sure, he's got so many years to develop. But, like, that's where I feel like it's unfair, the Dogs forcing him into the situation where he is the one that has to call the shots.
Yes.
Because he just went into this, like, conservative, I'll just kick, I'll just grubber. Like, there was not really every grubber, there wasn't really like this plan to deceive and create tries. It was more just like, man, I'm out of ideas. I'm just going to do the very conservative thing, get repeat set. Whereas, like, surely when you get to that second or third grubber, you go, you know what, like, that's not really working for us.
Yeah, it feels like Galvin is just playing to fit. Okay, this is what I think halfback should do.
Yeah.
Instead of what Lockie Galvin should do, which is
on the ball,
run the football, take them on.
Yeah.
Be energetic. I feel really, because I once again, I don't think Galvin's made his bed perfectly over the last 2 years, but now on top of that, Canterbury aren't doing him any favours.
I don't think so. I like, the thing is this: if he is the 7, back him all the way in and say he is the 7 long term. Like, that's what I'm not understanding. Like, like, if you said to me, can Galvin be a good 7 in 3 or 4 years? I'd say I think he's got the talent to do it. I do. I think that he's a very talented player that if at 20 years old, when he's 23, 24, sure. But the problem is like, even the Bulldogs are basically alluding to that's not the plan long term.
Yeah.
So it's like, and also, I don't think the Bulldogs want to wait 3 or 4 years to win a premiership. They were already like this close on top of the table, So anyway, huge problems at the Dogs. Look, I thought Leo Thompson was okay. He's going to obviously take time to work out his game style with the Dogs. I thought Jacob Preston was good. I think Salmon, although a decent player, the creativity around there, it's just not there at the moment. I thought when Kurt Mann came on, there was a bit of danger around the ruck. I know they like to use him as an impact player, but I don't know. I just think that they're lacking a bit of spark around the ruck at the moment. Like, there's nothing really happening.
I really sincerely hope that the Bulldogs' form and clusterfuck of what's going on there at the moment doesn't cost Jacob Preston when it gets to rep selection.
Yeah, true. Surely they pick him. He's been one of their better players this year. But the tough thing for the Dogs as well is, like, because there's no creativity around the ruck, like, they're just taking one out hit-ups essentially, and they're relying on their incredible line speed in defence to hold teams in. And they were doing a great job in the first half, a great job. They had all the field position. They just could. There's nothing. Anyway, okay, on to the Broncos. I said this on Saturday kickoff, and I'll say it again. I just want to give Madge his flowers and his raps now because, there was a lot of negativity around Madge at the start of the season. For the life of me, I could not understand why. And my hope is that, there was a lot of negativity when they weren't winning. Let's give him some raps. If you're going to critique him when they aren't winning, give him his raps when they are winning. And they're doing something pretty special right now. And I haven't seen that many raps for him, which is really frustrating in my opinion. What they have managed to do in the last 2 weeks has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It is honestly, I actually remember a couple of weeks ago in Morning Glory, we were talking about it. And for some reason, me and Maddie at the same time go, Madge is going to love this when we're talking about the injuries at the Broncos. And he has. He has absolutely loved this back against the wall. Like, they're a guy, like this, their front row at one stage was Krzyzewski and Tolti. Like, Tolti's playing New South Wales Cup. Krzyzewski couldn't find a club. And he's also an edge back rower. It's absolutely phenomenal. Wilson has just gone to a whole new level. Reynolds' defense on the other night was phenomenal. And that's why Reynolds is actually our service of the week, guys. The kicking game on Adam Reynolds. Like, just when you think the game has changed so much, some things will stay the same forever. And if you've got a good kicking game, my God, it's worth an extra friggin' $300,000 or $400,000. Like, he had it on a string, absolute string. So he's our service of the week, guys. Proudly brought to you by Astley Mazda. And look, if you're exciting update for anyone looking to upgrade soon, any bloke listener who buys any new or used car from Luke Camilleri, the car man, could score a money can't buy experience at a day at the footy at Suncorp Stadium in a corporate box with NRL legends Alex Glenn and Draye. I will also be there, hosted by Carman himself, Luke Camilleri. More on this gifted experience to come later this month, so stay tuned. Shoot Lukey a DM and give him a follow, and he can sort out all your needs when it comes to cars.
In a week full of wild highlights, incredible stats line, all that sort of stuff, Adam Reynolds, 3 runs, 12 metres, 0 line breaks, 0 line break assists, 0 try assists, and he was just about my player of the week.
Phenomenal.
Like, the way that he just takes control of the game with his boot is unbelievable. And there's not many guys. There's so many rules that have come in over the last 10 years that should have made Adam Reynolds irrelevant. His kicking game is so good that he counters all of them. He's
crazy.
A freak.
It's absolutely crazy. Like, the Bulldogs dominated the Broncos in field position. And our secret weapon was we've got this absolute wizard that can kick us out of trouble every single time. So you've got essentially the middle of the field. So we'll just say 8 blokes expending crazy amounts of energy, getting line speed, and then Reynolds gets the ball and kicks the ball friggin' the whole way down the field, and you get out of trouble.
Is there a world where you could look at Reynolds at halfback, Cleary at 6 for New South Wales? I know everyone's automatically going to Mitch Moses, but I've been calling for Moses for years, but Adam Reynolds is just playing unreal footy, and I just wonder if you have an experienced guy like him in there at halfback, if he can just kick Queensland to death and Nathan Cleary can just do what Nathan Cleary does best, run the football. I don't know. Feels like a crazy idea, but I don't think it's that crazy.
Well, I feel like outside of Cleary, and obviously you've got guys like Dewey that are playing really well, but outside of Cleary, I don't think Moses is really putting his hand
not at all
up that much. Like, he's been okay. He hasn't been bad. Luai, he's been injured out of the game, so obviously came back, but it's not like he's setting the world alight at the moment. So it's not as crazy as an idea, honestly, especially when you looked at his defense last night. Like, that's one area where I thought, like, the physicality maybe, but his defense the other night was outstanding. So
his defense has been good for a few years, I think, Reynolds.
Yeah, I thought especially good on the weekend, though. Like, he was really fucking strong in defense. So, yeah, mate, I don't think it's too crazy. I really don't. And look what the Queensland Maroons have done every year. They've got this really experienced 7 with this, Munster who's getting a bit older, but they've always gone in with a really experienced 7.
Yeah, and you have a look at what Adam Reynolds is like. With all due respect to these guys, outside of Stags, like when you look at that backline, and I guess Shibasaki that played rep football last year, but like even the forward pack he's got, like it's all going to be better when he's playing for the Blues. Playing behind a much bigger pack, he'll have more kick targets. Like I don't know. I don't know why with Adam Reynolds from a New South Wales perspective we've overlooked him for. It feels like to me it's been the last 5 years. He's not even really in the conversation to be there. And I understand, Cleary's the best halfback in the game and all that sort of stuff. But I do find it bizarre that we just look straight past Adam Reynolds and go straight to Mitch Moses.
No other 7 has a better resume than Adam Reynolds.
Yep.
Like literally the only other 7 that does is Nathan Cleary. But Adam Reynolds has taken different teams to win grand finals, different teams to grand finals. Like South's taken twice, Broncos twice, 1-2 from 4. Like that's like no other 7 resume comes even close to that that's currently playing the game. So it's like, matter of fact, like in recent memory, I'm trying to think. It's like Cronk, Thurston, Cleary, and I'm probably forgetting someone. And I'm talking about the modern era of footy, and it's probably Reynolds as a 7. I'm trying, like in regards to how many grand finals they've been to and won. I'm trying to think of someone else. Is anyone else, Matty?
Well, you look at like the last, and I'm just talking off the dome here, but your last 11, 12 grand finals, like it's probably only been 5 halfbacks that have played in them, realistically, because Jerome Hughes, Cooper Cronk took up so many of them, and Nathan Cleary, of course. And then you've got him, Adam Reynolds, that's won 2 of them.
Yep. And he took a team from the wooden spoon to a premiership win.
Yeah, he's lost 2 of them and won 2 of them.
Crazy. I thought Ezra Mann really stepped up. My God, that put down, that was insane. Across his body. Like his back is like this. He's lying down and he's going like that. Far out.
He's a special player, isn't he? Ezra?
Jeez. His ability to break a game open is just phenomenal. He's really stepped up and realised like, hey, like, I'm relatively young, but I need to be a leader. We are missing so many players.
Really wasn't that long ago we were just seeing highlights of him coming through. I think he was playing for the Magpies up there in Q Cup. Like I remember sitting on this show with you. It would have only been 3 years ago or whatever going.
Wasn't that long.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yep. And now he's just like an absolute dynamite. Like his ability to just create things. And that's why I talk about you just looked at the mirror. Like look at the Dogs in good ball and look at the Broncos with Ezra Mam there. Like it's night and day.
Xavier Willison, mate, he was fucking unreal for your Broncos, and you get your first look over the next few weeks of life without Payne Haas. And is Willison going to be able to do this every single week? History tells us probably not, but God knows nowadays with what players are doing. But, mate, early signs are looking very positive. He was fantastic in the final series last year. He was great for New Zealand last year, ticking a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and he just kept turning up, like hit up after hit up after hit up. He'd win one, he'd lose one, he'd win one. He just kept turning up. I thought Hayes Perrin was also outstanding.
What a story, man.
Fuck. What a great story.
And to say, like, and I say this with absolute order, he was so bad at Canterbury. That was an absolute train wreck a couple of years ago. For him to build himself back up and then come in for the Broncos, and as rugby league tends to do, hand you these little fairy tale moments where you get to take on the Bulldogs, and he absolutely carved.
Mate, he was the best fullback on the field.
Yeah, he was sensational, and just another testament to just fucking hanging in the contest.
Yep, just backing yourself, believing in yourself. He was great under the high ball. He had some good tip-ons for some line break assists, good ball running. You know, another tribute to Madge and his ability to get the best out of players. Just amazing. What a great story. And patient as well. They put Arthurs back there initially, but to be honest, I think you found your backup fullback at this stage.
Yep.
I'd be putting Hayes there probably before. I think Arthur suits the edge more.
Yep.
It's just a great story, a bloody great story. He was phenomenal.
Another great story. I feel like we say it every week, but we'll give him another up. Ben Tulty, another 55 minutes, 114 run meters, 44 tackles, 0 missed for Tulty. Just a Madge special there.
Yep. And Va'a Semu, I think it was his debut. Congratulations. He was great when he came on. So, look, just really good. Preston Ricky was great when he came on. Jordan Ricky was great as well. Like, just really good stuff. Really, like, just so proud of how well they're playing. They're just absolutely killing it. They deserve everything that they get.
How good's I forget what it's called. You guys will know what I'm talking about. You know, when you have those things in life that are like the Monopoly man had no monocle, and it was those things that people think are true that aren't.
Yeah.
Preston Ricky being Jordan Ricky's brothers becoming one of those things.
I just assumed
Every time they point it out, everyone's like,
yeah. So unbelievable stuff from the Broncos. They are just such a good group of young men, and they're killing it. Absolutely deserve everything they got. Alrighty, it's time for the service of the week, proudly brought to you by Aspley Mazda and Luke Camilleri. And the big fella, he's decided to join us. It's always a pleasure, mate. How you going?
Good morning, mate. I'm very, very well, thank you. Very well, thank you.
Mate, I wish I could bring you in on happier terms, but the Dragons, mate, what are your thoughts on the whole situation? I know you're an absolute Dragons tragic. Thoughts on the decision to move Flano
on? It's a tough one, Denon. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not the only Dragons supporter that. But my life, I live week to week for the Dragons. Like, if the Dragons are playing at 7:30 on a Saturday night, like I'm planning that before anything else. So die hard. So when they're losing, it kind of affects your whole week and everything else. So I don't know. Like, I know you and I have chatted a couple of times before about it, but I just think that, like, Flanagan probably had to go. Like, you looked at the I guess the pressure that he was under and everything else, and I think he had to go because the changes just weren't being made. But I think the problem runs way deeper than that. It's just not the coach. And I think, you're not going to put a new coach in and get a different result immediately. There's a bit of a long haul ahead, unfortunately, for the Drags. Tough times, actually, for a supporter. It's actually really, really heartbreaking.
And are you a big believer in, the juniors coming through? Is that something that gives you a little bit of hope?
Yeah, I think definitely. And I think that, that they needed their opportunity probably a little bit earlier. And, Dean Young's come in, he's made some decisions straight away, but I just don't think, and I've always been the same, even for my business, I don't think age is a matter. Like, even if they're young, like they've got to have an opportunity. And I think that the football that the Dragons were delivering week to week was very, very basic and boring and predictable. And it just wasn't getting results, and there needed to be some form of change, and I think that's through the youth and through that energy. So, it'll be interesting to see the next few weeks ahead, but change needed to be made, that's for sure.
And mate, what's going on at the dealership at the moment? I'm flying up to Savo tonight to see you tomorrow with Jarome and Alex Glenn. What's the latest at the dealership, mate?
Lots going on in the dealership at the moment. Coming on to end of financial year now, so like deals across the board on everything: utes, the passenger cars, the large platform stuff. But we've still got our ex-rental sale happening at the moment, which is flying. CX3 and CX5 at unbeatable pricing that are only a year old. So there's a lot going on. It's always busy there. Lots going on.
And in regards to what we're doing, tomorrow we'll be doing some shoots, because if you buy any car, and we'll come up with an end date, which the end date's coming soon, you have a chance to be gifted a day in a suite with me, Lexi, Alex Glenn, Jarome Luai, and yourself at a Broncos game.
What a ripper day that'll be.
Oh, mate, absolutely. It will be a big day.
I'm thinking about the Broncos-Dragons game. What do you reckon?
I don't want to see you in such a bad mood, mate. I want to see you happy, all right? So let's just go to a Broncos game. You see some real quality footy there. You don't have to worry about some poor footy that you see each week with the Dragons, mate.
Very fair. Very valid, mate. Very valid.
Yes, it is against the Dragons, but this was the Roosters' best game. They were clinical. And what I liked the most about it was in their first half, for a period there, they completed at 90%. And they just were... You were looking at essentially a reserve grade level side with some first graders sprinkled in, compared to a highly skilled first grade side. Dominated them.
Yep. Did exactly what they were meant to do. The Roosters absolutely just murdered them in this game, realistically. The Dragons, they almost scored early, and I do wonder if they would have scored that try. If maybe this afternoon could have looked a little bit different, but Dragons just like that underbelly, and the Roosters put them to the sword. They're really good. I thought James Tedesco, I know that Edwards obviously had a huge game, but fuck, that's going to be a big decision for Laurie Daly in a few weeks' time.
Absolutely massive. Like, seriously, I think the only thing that would stop, I think James Tedesco consistently so far this year has been better, but I think just the combination probably with Cleary is going to help Edwards' case, but it's a tough decision.
What would worry you more as a Queenslander?
It's hard to say, because Teddy does have a tendency to be very dominant. And so sometimes I'd rather Teddy being in there, because the systems sometimes don't work as well because he's so dominant. And also in his more recent games in Origin, he hasn't necessarily been the best. But he does have a lot of games where he's the best on the field. But recently, last couple of years, he just seems to struggle to find his place a little bit in Origin because it is such a unique system where he's not the main man, whereas at the Roosters, he's the main guy. Like when he wants the ball, he gets it. Whenever he wants a one-off hit up, he takes it. Whereas I think Edwards, he suits what Cleary wants more. Like all Edwards is doing is what Cleary wants. So it's such a tough one. It's, you know, if you could get me Teddy doing everything that Cleary wants all the time, I think that's a scary prospect. But it's just like, how long do you have to make that happen? It's a tough one. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. Now, just quickly in this game, the first one was so silly from Leilua. Like, you're already back against it. To come out and head high Sam Walker like that was just like that's an error you make 5 years ago.
Yep.
More. Like, we all know you cannot do that to kickers. Anyway, so that happens, and that's 10 in the bin. I got to say, the Aitken one, that was a terrible call. So the guy clears the ruck. He comes out, slaps it in his hand, he knocks it on. 10 in the bin. And the try line is like 30 metres away.
Very harsh.
What? That's an outrageous call. And I know they were told not to put their hand and slap in the ruck, but he got out of the ruck. It's like the Api Coruscant one against the Broncos. Like, it would be almost like putting him in the bin. Like, I know it's a little bit different, but like that was the wrong call against Api Coruscant against the Broncos. But then to get 10 in the bin, that was tough.
Not to mention that Hugo played the ball almost facing the fucking sideline too.
Like, that was a tough call. That was really, really poor. And like, the Roosters were always going to win this game. Like, I don't think that in any world the Dragons do win this game. I just think the Roosters are a substantially better side. But geez, they could have dealt a better hand than that.
Can I have a little pet peeve that I noticed from the weekend as well? And I've noticed it the last few weeks. The amount of time, you know how like every 2 years we have this 6-week period where you've got to touch the ball with your foot when you're playing the ball?
Yeah.
Mate, how often are we going upstairs to check tries and it is so evident that a foot has not touched the ball and the player ball?
Just leave it.
No one cares.
No.
Nothing.
It's just bizarre. So bizarre, these crackdowns. But anyway, great stuff from the Roosters. They played exactly how you would hope. They were clinical. They were dominant. And look, they're building. They're building nicely. It's another step towards where you want the Roosters to be. They're starting to fast become one of the top tier sides in the competition that teams have to worry about. Quickly on Cade Reed's debut. Look, I've got to say with Atkinson, like I understand when he came to the club, he's been convinced that he's the 7 and he's the main man and all that stuff. But unfortunately, that's just not what he does well. Like, I know that there have been times when he played for the Sharks and, you know, they won against Melbourne Storm. That's one game. And also, if you go back and look at that game, there's a lot that went into that. It was a different style of rugby league they were playing. And I just think that he needs to take a step back, let Cade Reed be the main man, and just go back to ball running. Just go back to ball running. Because the amount of times he would dominate ball possession and get the ball and throw a poor pass, or just go back to running the ball. Like, just run first all the time, then pass if it comes up. Let Cade Reed be the main man. You know, tough day at the office in defence, and we knew that was going to be the case, especially when you've got one of the most aggressive fullbacks in the competition. But I thought there was a lot of promising sign in Cade Reed's attacking ability. Super silky with the ball, looked dangerous at times. You know, pretty happy.
Yep, I am with you. I love that the coach came and said after the game, Cade Reed will be our halfback in 2 weeks' time.
Yep.
Absolutely love that. I got a few messages from people sort of saying to me, I fed him to the Wolves on Anzac Day. I'm like, what do you want to do here? Like, you want change in your halves. You put a young kid in who, I mean, I don't think it's rocket science to work out he's going to struggle in defense. He's probably the smallest body out there in the NRL right now. Came up against a good team who peppered him. That's going to happen week in, week out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it was good for a change. He brought a bit of energy to this side. Once again, I think if he sets up that first try and that's a try, I don't think they win, but I think this game maybe looks a little bit different because they were up and about early. They had the crowd involved, and then all of a sudden, 15 minutes, they looked up and it was fucking 18-0, and they're in the hurt locker. I like what I saw from Cade Reed. I thought he did some good things, and I think that the best way to get experience is to get out there and learn lessons.
Thought on Atkinson, does he just need to go, you know what, put it away, I'm a 6, running 6.
Yes, he should have been told that from day one.
And like half, it's not really his fault. He was being told from day one, you're the main man. And, of course he's going to back himself. He's a professional athlete, but that's just not what he does well. He's a ball runner. He's a great ball runner.
Yep.
So, look, unfortunately, Sloan was quite poor. Like, I'm starting to get to where you're getting, whereas, like, maybe you put Atkinson back at the back and it just simplifies his whole game. He doesn't have to think about all that ball playing. Put him at fullback and just see how you go.
I think you could do much worse.
Because, like, Sloan can't be there every week.
No, he can't. And I don't think Gutho can either at the moment. Well, based on how his form was before that. So you have to do something. The only problem is now, mate, like if Atkinson goes there and does well at fullback, what do you do next year?
Oh, Drinky, true.
Like you've just caused yourself more dramas. But I think for right now, yeah, I think that he has played his best footy as a whole across reserve grade and everything when he's playing fullback, in my opinion, Atkinson.
Okay, as you guys know, it's going to be a shorter episode, so we're just cruising past through things. Warriors defeat the Dolphins 20-18. Look, a tight one, very entertaining game. I've got to say, the Dolphins, look, it's been a tough 2 weeks, 2 tight losses, but they are starting to play like the team that we hoped they would be at the start of the year. So they've just got to hang in tight, keep believing in this game plan, keep believing in this style of footy, because it's just around the corner. Like that extra step, that little extra bit, it's nearly there. Don't give up, just before you get there, because they've just come up against the 2 best sides in the competition 2 weeks in a row and come within a whisker of beating both.
How they were in this game, I'll never know, the Dolphins. Like you look at throughout the season, teams that play Penrith, they struggle the week after. Teams that go to Golden Point, they tend to struggle the week after. Teams that have to play in ridiculous conditions, like playing up there in Darwin, they had all 3. Golden Point, Penrith, in Darwin, and then to make it worse, they had to fly to New Zealand to play the New Zealand Warriors. Whether it's the NRL, AI, whoever they want to pin that on, I don't know how on earth the Dolphins had to go to Darwin to play Penrith and then had to fly to New Zealand. That is absolutely brutal. For them to even be in the conversation of this game, I thought that was an incredible effort from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They deserve applaudance for it.
Yep, they were really, really good. Warriors, like, they just fell into the trap of playing what the Dolphins wanted, I think. I think they got a bit caught up in the middle there instead of getting to the edges and trying to really attack their edge defenders and their 3-in defenders. But, look, the fact is they beat them. They got the job done, and that's what a good side does. Wasn't their best game by any stretch, but, they were down at halftime, I think, if I recall correctly. Came out the second half, hung on, and did what they needed to do.
Yeah, 18 points to 14 at halftime. Jackson Ford, again, mate.
Oh, far out, bro.
Flying. Another one, we're talking about Twal, Terrell May coming into the Blues side. You would have to assume that at least 2 of Ford, Terrell May or Twal will be somewhere there, wouldn't you?
You'd have to say, yeah.
At least one of them, without a doubt, will have to be there, I think.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. You've got Adam Fanua-Blake, Barnett, if he's good to go, would you say would be that starting front row, or would you go Jackson Ford?
Yeah, Barnett's got to get some minutes under his belt over. He's still only played 22 minutes.
Yeah, he's been
game.
super unlucky.
So, but you got to remember as well, you're now picking 6 guys on your bench. So
You got Keon there as well.
Keon, yeah. Yep.
Keon there. But, yeah, Jackson Ford, in regards to his ability to play 80 minutes, like he's playing 80 minutes every week, and he's not slowing down.
Nope.
He definitely should be in the mix and the conversation for playing Origin. Like he suits Origin. He can play anywhere from edge to the middle, play big minutes if you need to. He can have impact if you need to. He's just been phenomenal.
Let's say you were picking, if you've got AFB and Keon there and you need a bench middle. So that's your role that you need out of those 3 guys. Like I personally think that what the role's going to be probably hurts Twal a little bit, despite his great form. I think it probably favours that of Jackson Ford and Terrell May personally.
Yeah, I just wonder. Yeah, it's tough because you got too many big boppers if you go Fanua-Blake, Keon, and also Terrell May.
Potentially, yeah.
But Terrell's been so good, and Terrell, at least statistically at this stage, is probably ahead of Keon, if I recall correctly. Mate, it's a tough one. They're all playing outstanding footy, all of them. I'm not really sure. Look, we'll find out more in the next couple of weeks, but, mate, it's just an embarrassment of riches. It really is. Adam Fanua-Blake in Origin, that is going to be super interesting. Him going to another level. But yeah, back to the Warriors. Like Harris Tavita continues to deliver. That tip on for the Calm Pereira try, my God, so good. Yeah, just exciting for the Warriors. In the end there, a couple of silly errors from Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. He just needs to clean that up a little bit. There was an error coming out of his end, and there was some back chat. But, they got the job done, and that's all that matters. Who stood out for you outside of... another funny thing is, what was doing with the camera work? It was all over the shop. It's like these, kept changing between wide and close angles, and bloody... I'm writing a letter, mate. Writing a bloody letter. Couldn't watch it.
One guy that I think's had a really good month and is starting to come into his own, unfortunately, got hit late. Got hit off the ball, so he had to leave the field. But Ali Leotawa, I think he's really starting to find his feet, mate.
Yeah, I think so too. And just getting that, reps under his belt and staying in first grade week in, week out, just getting used to the momentum and time. Mate, I thought Aaron Clark was phenomenal. I thought he was really bloody good. Hasn't he just found what he does best? Does it each week. Pretty simple. Runs hard, tackles hard, little bit of ball playing here and there if he needs to. Big motor, can have impact, can play 80 if you need him to. Just well-rounded player. Just a well-rounded player. I thought Fish was good. I thought Tane Tuapiki was outstanding. Just worked his absolute backside off. He had a try. He had 23 runs, 236 metres, 69 post contact, 8 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, an offload, 4 tackles. The Warriors, they're looking. They've set the year up so well that right now, they truly the other years when they've played really well. Would you go that you wouldn't sit there and go out and out? They're the second best team in the comp. You'd be like, okay, they've caught a bit of fire here. Probably top 4 or 5. Right now, they are out and out the second best team in the competition.
Yeah, they're an interesting side. I probably would have them as my second or third best team in the comp, but it's such a crazy competition. It was only 3 weeks ago. They look dreadful.
Against the Tigers.
They had 2 losses in a row. The Tigers, and the week after that, they looked very average as well, I think, from memory. What did they do? Yeah, they got beat by the Sharkies 2 weeks after that. But since then, they've looked great.
No, did they beat the Sharkies?
No, Sharks beat them 36-22. They had 2 weeks in a row where they looked very average, and you sort of went, oh, my God, what's going on here? But the last 3 weeks, they've looked great again.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's all about setting your season up, and that's exactly what they're doing. So they're just racking up the points because right now they're sitting, obviously, second. And they've got 12 points. They've played 8 games, so they've still got a bye in hand. So, right now, they truly are, wow. So, everyone beneath them, so the Tigers, South, Sydney, Souths, the Roosters, Manly, all beneath them, they've all played 7 games, so they've had their bye. Whereas the Warriors, who are on 12 points also, really should be on 14, and then the Panthers really should be on 16. That's basically they're already on 6 wins. You'd probably have to finish the season on 13 wins in total to make the 8. So, you've given yourself a good start by round 8 if you got 6 of them.
Yeah, so the Roosters, they made the top 8 last year with 13 wins. Yep, Dolphins missed with 12.
Yeah, so it's a really, really good start, a really good start. Just to think that you've got basically, what would it be, 20, we've got 18 rounds to pick up 7 more wins.
Yeah.
I like those chances.
15 wins made the top 4.
There you go. It's that's how important the start of the season is. 18 rounds to pick up, 10 wins even. You're going to drop 8 games in that. So really, really good stuff for the Warriors. Dolphins, kind of already spoken about them guys, but really gutsy. Love what they brought, and it's just about sticking to it. Thoughts on Averillo? Sorry, thoughts on Trey Fuller at centre.
I just love Trey Fuller when he's on grass, mate.
Yes.
He needs to be in the side
Couple of
somewhere.
try assists.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
He's an absolute freak. And Hamiso's going to go and play Origin. He'll play fullback for those 5 or 6 weeks. He'll absolutely carve it up during that period. It's interesting now, mate. Averillo's got an injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Nicarima's still suspended next week. I personally don't think Nikorima has cemented his spot in this side anyway. His form hasn't been great this year. So I wonder what they'll do. You can obviously play Brad Schneider at 5'8". Jack Bostock also returned via Q Cup on the weekend. So I wonder if there's a world that you could throw Trey into play 5'8" this week.
Well, he's like, I know it's different to centre, but like he's in the front line now, and you know, and Nikorima is they're about the same size.
Do you look at Hamiso at 6 maybe and Trey at fullback, or is it too many changes?
Yeah, and also like I just don't want Hammer making that many tackles. Like, so yeah, it's an interesting one. You know, I tell you what, Trey Fuller with more ball in his hand, it can't hurt. It can't hurt.
Yep.
Another guy who I thought really
just on that as well, like. Fuck, Jake Averillo's had a good season, man. He was under so much pressure coming into this year, and he's been tremendous. That injury is terrible timing for him.
Absolutely. Guy who I thought hit his straps is the psychopath, Max Plath. He was outstanding. And I know he's playing 9. He's more of a 13, but I thought he was the best 9 of the weekend, really.
Yeah, it was right up there with him. I think you'll see JMK return in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so Plath will probably go back to that 13 role. I reckon he'd be a serious sniff for a 6-man bench in your Queensland side.
Yep, agreed. Herbie did what he does best. So listen, just got to, just keep sticking at it. I guess the blueprint is there. They just got to keep hanging in there.
Well, what about that try that Herbie scored, by the way? Just come back against the grain, and Torpicki was lazy for about half a metre, and Herbie just made it look like a football field.
Yeah, crazy.
Picked it out immediately.
Yeah. He's such a class player. Okay, time for the Rabbitohs against the Melbourne Storm. Wow. Look, is it the day? You know, are we finally going to see the Melbourne Storm have a normal year like every other club? You know, for so many years they've held this off. For so many years they have been the best sporting organisation in the country, in my opinion. Has, you know, reality, and I don't say that in an insulting way at all. They are the ones that have been out of this world. You know, they have been breaking the rules year after rule, but are they finally just feeling the pinch a little bit with, you know, the changing recruitment styles, the changing generation in players? I cannot believe how poor they were. Like,
yeah, I think particularly at home on Anzac Day, I'm shell shocked by how poor they were. I sort of tipped in the last 3 weeks to lose. I thought they'd 100% bounce back this week. And I know that down there they did things a little bit differently this week. I don't think it was as football focused. They obviously had like an Anzac Day day on Thursday. I think you could see on their socials on Wednesday they went and played pickleball for a few hours. So I think Craig tried something different this week. I'd argue they got worse this week. It was an absolute disaster down there. And, mate, we just spoke about whichever team we're just talking about, you know, 13 wins will get you in there. We're now 8 rounds in. The Melbourne Storm have won 2 games. They need to win 13 to make the top 8. They haven't had a bye yet. That essentially means they have to win 11 of their next 16 games to play finals footy, and that's before Origin. Like, it's getting real now.
Yeah, like genuinely to the crunch stuff. Like if they drop 2 or 3 more games, it's essentially done.
Yeah, and this team, you know, even by Melbourne Storm standards, if you've got to win 11 out of 16, that's fucking impressive in the NRL when you're going well.
Yep.
The other thing that, you know, this will obviously mean that during Origin, you're going to have to ask Cameron Munster, Harry Grant. They're probably going to have to back up from Origin games they haven't done previously. It also means that August, you're playing finals footy already.
Yeah, the whole thing. That's what made the Panthers like so crazy last year, because they were playing finals footy for about 15 weeks. I cannot believe after...
Even just to take it a step further, sorry to interrupt you, round 25 they play the Panthers, round 26 they play the Broncos, round 27 they play the Sharks. They're literally going to have to play 8 weeks of finals footy if they're going to win this comp this year.
I mean, I think winning is out of the question at the moment.
I think it's gone.
Yeah, I think it's gone. I think that top 8 is really probably a good end of the season for them, considering how they have started here. I just cannot believe, with everything on the line, with how much negativity there's been around the club, with how much on the line on Anzac Day as well, they completed at 65%. 65%. And it took a trick shot play for them to score any points.
Yep.
Like, that is a Melbourne Storm side look, if they had like a 90 or 85% completion rate and still got done, at least they're controlling the controllables to a degree. But like, they look like a shell of themselves.
Yep, and teams can tell. There was a period of time last year where we sort of thought, okay, teams aren't scared of Penrith now. They've lost so many games, they look human. They obviously turned it around. Maybe Melbourne can do the same, but I think teams are showing up to Amy Park and whenever they're playing Melbourne and they're looking at that forward pack and they feel red hot.
Well,
I really do.
Yeah. And they're sitting there going, finally, we've got a wounded deer here.
Yeah.
Let's take them.
Yeah, you've made us look stupid for 20 years and teams are getting up and about. Like you could even tell, like I know Matty posted on his socials having a bit of a laugh, but mate, Trell hitting that field goal from 45 metres out. I took that as a direct, fuck you. You've done this to us for years.
Yep.
I'm going to rub your face in it now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't feel like it as a Storm fan right now, but it is actually a compliment with how dominant you guys have been that so many people are relishing this moment because it hasn't ever happened before.
Yeah, I spoke about last few weeks how teams aren't scared of the Melbourne Storm. Like for a guy that's Tallis Duncan's age, for him to go after Munster like that. When have you seen someone do that to Munster, Hughes, Grant, Cronk, Smith, Slater before? A young guy like that in his third or fourth year of first grade?
Very
you just
rare.
you don't see it. It doesn't happen.
No. Like even looking at some of these stats, they averaged 17 more meters than the Melbourne Storm. And the Melbourne Storm, it was 14 line breaks to 1.
Yep.
A team with Harry Grant, Jarome Hughes and Munster and Fa'alongo only had one line break, and that one line break was his try. I'm pretty sure. It is a dire situation they find themselves in.
Even more so, mate, at halftime. I'm not a lip reader, but I read that from Craig Bellamy as, you guys sort this the fuck out. There's nothing I can say to you here. And they came out in the second half and nothing changed.
And it looked like he went at Chan again. Mate, I wonder, is this new generation of playing group, and it sounds weird to say because they made a grand final last year, but are they struggling with the intense feedback potentially? I don't know. I did find it really really impressive. Harry Grant in the press conference. Did you see that?
Yes, it was unreal.
Like
leader.
That's a leader right there. Like that's so impressive, because he knew what the journalist was kind of alluding to and looking for. And look, I'm not blaming the journalist. They can ask whatever questions they like with as long as they're not insulting.
Yeah.
But for Harry Grant to jump straight in and go, no one, the dressing room has not been lost to Craig Bellamy, and basically like, we owe this guy, and he's been doing it for long enough. We owe this guy to turn up and do what we need to do. I actually thought Bellamy you could tell it kind of meant something to him, I reckon.
Yeah,
I reckon like Bellyache was taken a bit back by, not in a negative way, more of like just this. It's been such a tough 6 weeks for him to have a player say that and be so far in. Like, yeah, that loyalty being shown by Harry Grant is very impressive.
Yeah, just on that as well, just something I've noticed the last few weeks. Mate, the interviews that Lara Pitt's been doing the last few weeks.
She'll ask
anything, and she does it in a respectful way. But I love what she's doing. I think quite often you get journos that walk into these players who are a bit scared to press buttons and everything. Lara is straight to the point. She does it in a respectful way, but she doesn't bullshit around, which I love.
No, I'm with you, mate. I think she's been fantastic. I think that sometimes,
even with Wayne the other day, you could tell she was just going at the point. With Craig at the point. She spoke to Munster after the game. I'm really appreciating what she's doing.
Yeah, I think so as well, because I think sometimes as fans, you feel a little bit disconnected that the tough questions aren't being answered, because like the tough thing for journalists at times is everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
And so like they're trying to ask a tough question, but then they don't want to put the coach offside whereas I think she's been asking a lot of the questions that fans want to hear.
And I think when you ask players and coaches the way that she's asking it, in a respectful way, but to the point, you actually give the players an opportunity to actually present a proper message to their fans instead of just the stock standard sort of shit answers that you're saying something without saying anything whatsoever. Yeah, I just think she's doing a really good job at the moment, and it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you. That Aiken try that they scored on Melbourne Storm, when have you ever seen a try like that on the Melbourne Storm?
Yeah, I don't know. And mate, I said it last week, but even Craig Bellamy said might have to make some changes.
But the problem is who?
Who are you going to change? Like, mate, with all due respect to him, and I've been huge on him, you know, when they signed, I thought he'd be enormous. But to even see Pahulu on the 6-man bench, like, mate, he's been very average in New South Wales Cup. You got Lazarus Valipu there as well, who's just not, like, he played in the grand final 2 years ago. You got all these guys that just aren't really firing shots at the moment. I think Lasardi will be available this week, so that's a plus, which, I mean, I reckon there's every chance Bellamy wants to take Joe Chan out of this side. He probably can't. I think he has to put Lasardi onto the edge and Cooper Clark into the middle. But yeah, outside of Stefano in this game, the pack just got bullied.
Even in the press conference, like, you know, I just got so much respect for Bellyache when he was openly like, I need to be better. Like, it's me that also needs to improve. We need to get better as a team, all of us, every single one of us. But I just don't know what direction they had. And so, yeah, anyway, the KO can't miss drought. It's South's breaking. Sorry, the KO can't miss moment is South's breaking the drought. And also Latrell Mitchell killing it. Watch all 8 games on KO Sport, guys. South shocked Melbourne 48-6 at Amy Park. Huge upset. And also, heading into next week, the games are basically, let me get up here. Next week, the games are, and they're all live and ads free during play. You've got Bulldogs versus Cowboys. You've got the Dolphins versus Storm, Titans v Raiders, Eels v Warriors, Roosters v Broncos. That'll be a huge clash. Knights v, and yes, it's on Saturday too, so that'll be on KO. Then it's got Knights v Rabbitohs. That'll be on KO, and then Sharks v the West Tigers. And then it is the Panthers v the Sea Eagles, all on Sunday as well. Okay, so no games Thursday night. Why is that?
I think Women's Origin is Thursday.
Oh, Women's Origin. Okay, yep. Women's Origin this Thursday as well. So you can watch that all on KO, guys. Do not miss it. Okay. In regards to changes with Storm, where can they go? Is there a shake-up here? Does Munster get moved somewhere and Wishart goes at 6? Like, is there going to be a big star on the
Jerome
top?
Hughes is out this week, so they're already going to have to use Wishy to replace him in the half. So that takes away a heap of options already. Lasardi will come back in, I think, this week, maybe the week after. So he'll come in on an edge. Cooper Clark will move to the middle, I assume. But you've also got Sean Blaw there. I noticed Joe Chan drop out of the side. He seems to not be the biggest Joe Chan fan in the world at the moment. Craig Bellamy. But I don't think any of those changes there. I don't think they move the needle massively for me, mate.
Well, that's the problem is, like, this is the squad that is either going to improve or not improve. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's specific players letting them down. It's across the board that they're struggling, whether it's left or right edge defense, whether it's through the middle. You know, I feel like Munster's been really poor this year, unfortunately. You know, there's no bigger fan of Munster than me, but I just hasn't been his normal. Like, they started the year really well. I think Hughes has been very quiet this year. I thought Harry Grant started the year really well, but he's also struggled a little bit. I think their main star players that, you know, they built a dynasty on consistency with Cronk, Slater, and Smith. Unfortunately, these boys aren't replicating that consistency this year. And so anytime the players around them are playing poor and they can fall back on those star players, they're not delivering at the moment. So, mate, it's a tough time.
Yeah, they take on the Dolphins this week, who, like, my biggest concern with Melbourne is just their edge defence. It is so frail. And with the Dolphins with Selwyn, Osako, Herbie, Trey Fuller, Hamiso, even their edge back rowers in Lemuelu and Finefu, like they're punching holes in teams week in, week out. I don't know how Melbourne turn this around. I don't know what it's going to take to turn it around.
Yeah. Tough one. Okay, onto the Rabbitohs. And obviously our KO can't miss moment. But, mate, Latrell Mitchell, the form that he has hit, truly only Latrell Mitchell can hit. The stuff that he is doing is absolutely phenomenal. Like, you know, 40-metre drop goals. That's a second one that he's nailed down in Melbourne. He did it for the Roosters as well.
Third, actually. He did it for South a few years ago, and it took the game as a golden point.
That's right.
But South ended up losing. So that's the third time he's done that.
Oh, my God. A guy that big shouldn't be able to do stuff like that. His ball running's incredible. His ability to create space for his outside men is incredible. You know, it has just been moving him back to centre has been an absolute masterstroke. And also getting a guy like Duffy at the back there has been awesome for him as well. The amount of metres that they can eat up. But yeah, Latrell Mitchell, 2 try assists, 12 runs, 164 metres, 32 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, 3 line break assists, 3 offloads. He had 6 kicks as well. Like, he is, like, if there's one guy with this form going into Origin that's scary, it's Latrell Mitchell. He is looking scary heading into Origin.
I hadn't seen it when we did the show last week, but did you see the clip that popped up this week from him playing golf the week before? Where he's playing golf and a guy comes up to him and asks him for a photo and he goes, "Who do you go for?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about who I go for. I'm a Dragons fan." And Trell goes, "Oh, I'll only score 2 tries this weekend." He scored 4. Fucking maniac. It's like
crazy.
serial killer stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is the NRL. This is supposed to be the NRL, bro.
Fucking wild.
That is crazy.
And backs it up with this performance in Melbourne. He is just on another level at the moment, Latrell. And a lot of these South Sydney boys are, mate. As you said, Matt Duffy's been tremendous. Tallis Duncan is playing out of his skin. I think Tommy Yeager might have nailed it a few weeks ago with Origin Bolter conversations. And if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I think a lot of people are expecting sort of Jacob Preston to be on the right edge, and he probably deserves it. But, mate, I think Tallis will go very close. What he did to Munster in that game, I think that was a bit of a statement.
Mate, he was outstanding. And I think that I actually don't mind his shout, Tommy Bomb's shout of him at 17, because he can play anywhere, essentially. And there's very few forwards that can genuinely play centre if they have to, play in the middle, play on an edge. And he's just so dynamic. Like, he is so dynamic and powerful. He's tough. He's gritty. He's Origin made. You know, I remember a few years ago, this would have been 4 or 5 years ago, when I had Jai Arrow on the podcast. I said, "Who's a young fella that you just fucking, he's a mongrel?" He said, "Tallis Duncan." And this was ages before he played first grade. Mate, each week he's getting closer and closer, to the point where he might just be that young gun of energy that explodes an Origin game open. Just the physicality of it all.
He's made for it.
Yep. He scored 3 tries. 3 tries. I had him in for a double. But
you had him for a double?
Yeah, I had him for a double.
Be better.
Yeah, my bad. But he is a special talent. Like, yeah, I will say this was the first game of the Rabbitohs where it all clicked for me. Like, they went down there and delivered and looked like a top-tier side. And that's the good thing. Look, I think, you know what I find strange? Is the Humphrey situation. Like, he gets taken off the field for Sullivan to come on, correct?
Yep, I think so.
And, like, I get it from a perspective of, you know, maybe he's just trying to give Sullivan time on the field, because it obviously helps depth if there's injuries.
I'll just jump in. He's getting scans today for rib stuff, Humphreys.
Oh, okay. So he had a bit of a rib injury.
Yeah.
Because, mate, I think Humphrey's been great. Like, I think he's been suiting exactly what they need, which is just a big boot, make your tackles, do whatever Cody Walker says. I think some of his defense, one-on-one defense, was phenomenal. Humphreys.
Jonah Glover and Ashton Ward both played in New South Wales Cup over the weekend. They beat Melbourne. Ashton Ward had a pretty good game. So, like, yeah, I don't think it's locked in. He's their halfback long term.
Well, that's what I find strange. I feel like he's doing enough to get that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like South's sending us enough messages that they're obviously not convinced, whatever it might be.
That's a tough gig. Like, maybe he's pricing himself out potentially.
He's leaving next year, right? Like,
no, they don't know, and he's hoping to stay.
Okay.
But I just, is it because he's pricing himself out and they can only afford to pay him minimum, and he's probably worth more than minimum? I'm not sure, but for the life of me, I think he's been really good. Really good. Matty, what do you think?
I want him to stay. 100%. Yeah. He's been, as I was trying to say before, he's definitely our number one halfback. And going to during the preseason, I think he was, but I don't think it was so locked in. But I think now he's just got to be there. And it's if he leaves, it's a shame. It's a big shame. And we'll be kind of starting again, which is annoying.
Yeah, and I like the physicality of his defense. Like, he's truly a half that, you know, he's not a spot because he's so physically robust. Mate, I think he's been great. Even big stretch. Hasn't he flown under the radar? I thought Campbell Graham was great.
Is he a shout to play for the Blues?
I was about to say, I'd love to see him have a big month now, because he should be a shout to play for the Blues. Yeah,
he's so consistent. His defense is outstanding. Mate, there are just so many players putting their hand up at the moment for the Blues. Far out. I do feel for Laurie Daly, because selection was, whatever way you go, there is going to be a large portion of people saying you went the wrong way. Until you actually win the series, it's going to be the wrong way to a lot of people.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. What about Dufty? Mike, he's ran over for 300 metres for both games. What a unique situation. Goes over to Super League, and I think towards the end it wasn't working well for him in Super League. Comes back. He has been ripping. Absolutely ripping. So the depth, what a genius signing for a Wayne Bennett with that depth. Like, you've got Jai Gray there ready to go when he's back, and then you've got Duffy just waiting in case that anything goes wrong there.
2 like-for-like guys, yeah.
Who else? I think Totola's been pretty unsung as well. I think he's been quite good. But yeah, look, just a really good win. Aiken off the bench is great. I mean, to be honest, all of them, like Keon Kalamatangi, 21 runs, 210 metres, 67 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, a line break, 18 tackles, only 1 miss. Like, really just everyone. Like,
wait, what about the Dally M people giving Fa'alogo a point?
No way.
Can you believe that?
That's crazy. You win 48-6 and someone, just because he did like a really cool try, don't get me wrong, but like 1 try.
Crazy.
Jesus. That's
not that I've watched a heap of them this year, the South New South Wales Cup, but I didn't realise Franklin Pelle's coming off the bench for them.
Really?
Frank the Tank, yeah.
The big fella. Okay.
He's played 4 or 5 games this year, so it's not like a new thing. I just hadn't seen.
Yeah,
that.
okay. He's big whopper.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff from South. We will move on. We won't spend too long on this game, guys, because we don't have time. But Panthers defeat the Knights 44-12, too clinical. One thing I will say with the Knights, like, they better sort it out soon because, you know, I can go easy on them and say, oh, they're in a rebuild. They started the year really well. But any team, if you're going up against Penrith Panthers and your completion rate in the first half is like 50% or like 60%, they ended the game with 65%. Like, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, I think at one point in the first 20 minutes, it was up to like 73% of the ball going the way of Penrith Panthers. I mean,
that's not talent. That's just...
Yeah. I almost want to compliment them for only conceding 44 points, to be honest with you. Like, if you're going to come out and play like that against good sides, they'll put you to the sword. They just refused to complete sets early, didn't they?
Mate, it was so bizarre. And, like, the problem for Knights is that if this continues, your start of the season is going to mean nothing. Literally, like, all that hard work you did at the start of the year to put your name on the map, to get a bit of respect in the NRL, to get your fans excited, you keep doing this for a couple more weeks, no one's going to care. And it's one thing to lose to Penrith. I think we all can expect that to happen. Penrith are a top-tier side. To complete at 65%, that has nothing to do with talent. Literally nothing to do with talent. They need to sort that out as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long season.
Yeah, for sure. Some positives this week. KP staying. Unreal news.
Yeah, geez. You know what I like the most about that is, like, wasn't leaked.
Yep.
No drama, no carry-on. You know, I think the only, like, of course, KP at his best, mate, at the club for as long as you can keep him. It's just about keeping him on the field. That's the main one. You know, if you're going to pay him big bucks, he probably needs to be playing more than 20 games a season. Could you get quickly up what his games are the last 3 or 4 seasons? How many games? That's the only little asterisk next to it that I...
Yes. Yeah. But I think it's a good nod to Justin Holbrook.
Yes, absolutely.
Well.
Absolutely. But till 2030... It's interesting. It's locked them in essentially to Dylan Brown being a 7 and Fletcher Sharp being a 6. What do you got there, Matty? That's right. But look, I thought some positives is that Dylan Brown, when the game was, you know, was pretty much all done, but made a couple of line breaks, was really good running game. So you saw glimpses of what he can do.
Yep.
I got it here. So last year he played 13 games. Year before he played 16 games. Year before he played 20 games. 14, 15.
Yeah, so that's the only a little bit of a worry is like you pay a guy like big bucks, you need him on the field more than 15 games a year. But hopefully this last little injury was just a little blip on the radar. But yeah, Dylan Brown I thought had some really nice moments, great running game. Obviously had a try, that great try, ran for 201 metres, 5 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 2 offloads, 28 tackles, 0 misses, and he kicked quite well as well.
Obviously, Dill Brown's try was the try of the game for Newcastle, but fuck, I was happy to see Phoenix crash over.
Yeah.
He's been playing so tough the last 8 weeks.
Far out.
Unreal.
Yeah. Okay, now on to the Penrith Panthers. Won't stay long on this, guys, because apologies, Panthers fans, but you already know, like, these are the best team in the competition. It's clear. You've clicked back into gear. I thought it was good to see Toto roar back into form. He wasn't necessarily out of form. He just wasn't hitting the heights that we know he can. I thought Alamotti was absolutely phenomenal. Like, you look at their outside backs, 292 metres for Dylan Edwards, Jenkins 147, Alamotti 213, McLean 159, Toto 227, Blaze Talungi 124, Nathan Cleary 161, Moses Leota 166. Like, that is a crazy stat line.
Tackle breaks, Dylan Edwards 7, Jenkins 4, Paul Alamotti 12, McLean 6, Toto 8.
Jesus Christ.
It's out of this world.
Like that stat line is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just, they are physically stronger and better than most teams. Like, how do you keep up with that? Like, how do you
Wow.
keep up with that?
Is that like 35 tackle breaks between their back five? It is. That's fucking insane.
And their lowest run meters was 124. Sorry, no, that's their number 6. So their outside backs, their lowest run meters was 147. Lowest.
Crazy.
Fucking just too big and explosive.
Yeah.
Good to see Dylan Edwards hitting red hot form again. 3 tries in the first half. Just looked a constant threat. I thought Leota was really good. Just a great win. They're back on top.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
back on top. Okay, on to the last game. And it is the Seagulls defeating the Eels 33-18. And I tell you what, it's time for Great Southern Bank's full package. And the full package is Kieran Foran. My God. Kieran Foran, absolutely incredible coaching. Great Southern Bank is making life easier for small business owners, and with their Business Plus app. With so many headaches and things to think about as a small business owner, Great Southern Bank's Business Plus app saves your time, money, and energy. Now, who was the full package in round 8 this week? It was Kieran Foran. Who comes to mind when you think of the complete package? The one that's got it all: fast, versatile, safe, all business. Cameron Smith, Andrew Johns, Thurston. Here's one from left field for all the small business owners out there. Business Plus should be your first pick. Business Plus by Great Southern Bank is complete package for small business banking. Your first choice in whether you're a rookie, a seasoned sole trader, or planning to dominate and leave your mark. In the time it takes to start an argument with your mates over Smith versus Johns, you can open accounts, apply for finance, send invoices, and do all your business banking in one simple app. And just like the game's best, Business Plus is fast, versatile, and secure, making it the ultimate banking all-rounder for small businesses in any industry. Download Business Plus by Great Southern Bank now. Terms, conditions, and eligibility criteria apply. The Fozdog makes it 4 on the trot. 4 on the trot. Do we dare to dream Manly in the 8? Or Nightmare, actually, because we'll have to be on that fucking hill dressed in Manly kit.
I can't wait for the hill. I think we're going. They only have to be a mathematical chance. They have to get 13 wins. What are they at now? How many wins have they had? 4?
They're at 4.
4. So yeah, I reckon we're in some serious curry, mate.
We are. We absolutely are. I'm going to get absolutely pizzled as a Broncos man. Mate, they look great. They look absolutely outstanding. They look in free flow. Fogarty looks as confident as anything. Garrick's playing really well. Hamole is just destructive best. He's a guy that's named that needs to be tossed up for Origin as well. They just look so free and happy and just all rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, you bring someone new in, and just has a slightly different influence, and Ruball is flying, mate.
Ruball. Wow.
It's ever since I've come in as a
supporter,
long-time fan of the club.
Oh, okay.
Everything's turned around.
So it's Guru.
Foz getting too much attention, in my opinion.
Okay, a Ruball it is. Very interesting, that claim. Very interesting. We'll see if it sticks if they start losing. Will you
Hot
still
tip,
call it?
it won't.
Mate, how good do they look? Like Fogarty, a try, 2 try assists, 115 metres run, 2 tackle breaks, a line break assist. What a game, and just his impact on the club. Like, I know, he really was a bit taken aback when Seabold was moved on, but respectfully, it's done wonders for his footy. He's been outstanding since.
Yeah. A good win here at Brookvale Oval. I'm really excited to see them this Sunday against Penrith.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they lose, I'm probably
That's
like,
fine.
okay, sure, whatever. But fuck, if they can win this game,
Oh,
it changes everything.
It literally, it turns into, could this be a Cinderella story?
And I think that's the beauty of it. If they lose, you go, okay, interim coach, the season's already fucked. It's fine, whatever. if they win, you're going, okay, is this side the real deal? And,
Yeah.
and if I'm Manly, if I can beat Penrith and they walk away from that, I'm Foz. I'm looking around that change room going, hey, there's no pressure on you still here. We got a free throw at the stumps here to do something.
We essentially got a free season.
Yep.
To just fucking enjoy footy. Love it. Like, this is essentially their second game without Turbo. And yesterday I wasn't watching going, where's Turbo?
No.
Which is, bro, if I ever say I was going to say that a couple of years ago, I would have said, you are crazy. But that's how good they've been.
Yep.
It is just so good to watch. They're entertaining. They're confident. They're believing in themselves. And I got to give the forward pack credit, man. Like, you know, that was my big concern, the forward pack heading into this season as their kind of Achilles heel. At the moment, they're kind of proving me wrong.
Yeah.
They're kind of proving me wrong. You know, they're playing a lot better than I gave them credit for. And, you know, yep, it's a long season, but as I said, I think they're at this stage, if you were to finish the season right now, or at least over the last month, you would say I've been proven wrong. They are, at the moment, playing like a top 8 forward pack.
Yeah,
so I've got to put my hand up there.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Olaquatu before, mate. Both the edges been tremendous. I think this was Olaquatu's best game this year, but Burbo's been really strong as well. Like, they're just Kobe Hetherington. I love what he's doing for this club. Paseka's been good.
And even Wakeham's been great.
Wakeham made 45 tackles.
Yeah, I know. Mate. He's been great. He's been great. I thought Bullymore had some good moments off the bench too. Tokiaho was great off the bench as well. Like, there is a lot to like in this side. You know, I know a lot of people don't think this, but here on this panel, we like to be proven wrong. I like to be wrong about a side. And granted, like, yes, you know, we were right in the sense under Seabold. I don't think they would have gone too well. But in regards to rating these players individually, like, I'm more than happy to say I got it wrong and them kill it. I want them to kill it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be fair, the moment Seabold got sacked, we both sat here and said there will be an immediate response here.
Yep.
They'll win their next. I thought they'd win 3 or 4 of their next 5 or so, but I didn't expect they'd be this good. They're setting the world alight. This isn't taking the piss in any way, shape, or form, or kicking a guy when he's down or anything. But if you're Seabold, are you watching these games with how they're going?
You can't.
You couldn't. Could
You'd
you?
have to. I'd be tuning all the way out of rugby league. Matter of fact, I'd be going overseas somewhere.
Jesus, it'd be tough to watch.
Like, because you'd have to have some kind of reckoning of, like, clearly my man management just isn't what I think it is.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I've been a bit critical for a while now of Seabold, of his man management, and that's probably his Achilles heel. But, like, it sucks to say, but it clearly is.
Yeah, without a doubt. Geez, I thought Fogarty was good in this game too.
Mate, he's so good. He's so good. And, like, you know, I've you know, maybe been a little bit harsh in Fogarty and calling him just a good, solid number 7 and probably not giving him his proper credit. Like, you look at the Raiders, you know, they're not going as well as they were. And I know things change and it's a year later, but, mate, he's been a huge reason in this turnaround for the Manly Seagulls. So good on him. Like, what a great career. What a great career, just backing yourself in. So, look, they're playing free footy. They have a free shot at the start. Like, even guys like Lehigh Hopewadi, like, you know, he's playing phenomenally on the wing there. Not kicking rocks. You got to remember, when he re-signed, the big question is like, why would he stay at the club when he's an actual fullback?
Yeah.
And we haven't heard a peep about that. Not a peep. Got to put his head down, done the work. What about Jason Saab heading that ball? What the fuck? What do you reckon he's thinking as it's coming down?
I don't think he is.
Like, if you can head a ball, you can catch. If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
But if, like, that would have got called back if it was a try. Like, you're not allowed to do that. I can't believe it didn't get called, to be honest.
Well, is that technically a knock-on?
Is it a rule?
Yeah, it's a rule. I've seen it once.
Oh, okay.
I seen it, like, to be fair, I seen it in probably 2011, like 15 years ago. But I remember who headed it. Someone headed it. Maybe it was Sivana Seaver or something. Headed the ball and they called it a knock-on. Yeah. I can't remember. I'll try to find it.
Because, like, I thought knock-on was from there to your hands. Like, if it comes off your chest,
I
it's
wasn't
not
aware
knock-on.
that it was a rule.
You know what? I could be wrong. I swear.
Because, like, if it hits your chest and goes forward, that's technically not a knock-on, isn't it? If you're not playing it, I guess.
I hate this grey area, but yeah.
Anyway.
If it quacks, it's a duck.
Yeah. Look, I will say, I guess, you know, it's better just to be accurate. But some of these non-knock-on calls, like where a shoulder will go into a ball and it goes backwards and they say that's not a knock-on, it's like, how does that make sense? Like, at some point that ball was loose enough to hit the shoulder and pop out. So therefore, Like, that's been a knock-on for 100 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, small pet peeve, not a big deal.
But it is there's so many plays that are happening now that you look at it and any rugby league fan goes, that's a knock on.
Yeah.
And they just let it go and it's like, fuck. What? Yeah, I find it frustrating.
It was Thurston. He did it a few years ago.
Oh, he did a header?
Yeah.
The great man himself. But look, really, really good stuff from Manly. They just keep flying, Manly, and they deserve it. They've worked their backside off. Kieran Foran, mate, what a first 4 games. He must be sitting there waking up going, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting for the penny to drop here. What is going on? Like, his stocks are just going like, because like right now, and he wouldn't do this because he's too good of a bloke. But right now, if he had a manager, the manager would be saying, fucking strike while the iron's hot. Put a bit of pressure on Manly right now. Because if you went to other clubs right now, there would be a few sniffs around going, fuck, we could do a bit worse.
I forget who, it might have been Matty Johns that said it last night. He made a really good point just about Foz that, he's only just retired. And your life as an NRL player is so stressful. You're working weekends, your body's all fucked up all the time, all this sort of stuff. And then he had like a brief 4-month period where he wasn't in the limelight and going fucking nuts. And then he gets thrust back into it. Like if he goes straight into coaching, as you said, like there's not many players that have done that throughout their career, but it would have a huge effect on your family and all that sort of stuff too, which he's got to take into consideration. I think it was Matty Johns that made that point. I thought it was a really good one.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, he's almost forcing himself into a job because Manly are going to make him too good. If they make the 8, it'd be very hard not to give him the head coaching role.
Yeah, if he's all in and wants it. Yeah.
I mean, surely he would be. Like, a coaching role, you're getting paid like fucking good wicket.
Yeah.
Doesn't come around often. Like,
well, for him they might though.
Your timing can be so weird,
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just got to take, like if he goes back to assistant, let's say Ballon comes in and kills it, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, I had that good season, but I don't know. I just think that head coaching roles, you got this roster that responds to you. It's your club that you grew up loving, or at the very least, won a premiership with.
Yeah.
These opportunities don't come often.
Yeah, I think Foz also very realistic though. I just everything's great when you're winning and everything's going well. Like he'd be aware being in the game for so long and some of the clubs he's been at, how quickly it can all turn. I actually think Matty Johns made a really good point last night that I think will be sort of the deciding factor in the end.
We'll see. We will see. Just quickly on the Eels. Look, with all the injuries, pretty brave. Like, there was periods there where they were really troubling Manly. I loved their in behind the ruck, and they were, the negative side of Manly that sometimes their forward pack can get rolled a little bit. We were seeing that for periods, but Manly just did really well. Hung on. So look, not with the amount of players out, I'm not too disappointed in the Eels.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I thought Will Pensini was really good. He's been fantastic since he has returned. And I thought Luca Moretti had a good game as well. And the other one I'm liking, he's not setting the world a lot or doing anything crazy, but I like the look of this Saxon Pryke.
Yes,
off the bench for them.
Yep. Mitchell Moses, okay. He's not. He just. I don't know. Is he injured? I don't know.
There has to be something going on there.
Because this isn't the Mitch
just
Moses.
not himself at the moment.
Yeah.
Like he's doing well enough to not be criticised or anything like that, but he's just nowhere near the level of player we know Mitch Moses to be.
Yep. He's still got defensive reads that's a concern, but I thought Brian Kelly had some decent moments. I know it's up and down at times with him, but he's still running his backside off and try assist and 200 plus meters. If he can sort that defense out, but the problem is that's been his issue for quite a while.
Yeah, just a few errors as well throughout this game, but that's been Brian Kelly for 4 errors he had.
Yep. Okay, shorter episode, guys. So that is us done and dusted. Make sure next Monday, 6 p.m., the Bloke jerseys are dropping. I'm assuming we probably don't do face and music this week because Amy's not here. Yep. Okay, sweet. All right, that's us done and dusted, guys. As usual, we will go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.